everybody. Welcome to NorCal Sports Network. Monday night, March 4th, 2024. What's happening out there? Hey, you know what? The video must have been on my end. I never saw the opening on my, it said my browser. I was like, are we? Yeah, my browser just.
Anyone else not see the road? Did anyone else see the intro?
Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Probably everybody else did, but me, I don't know. I've had some crazy stuff going on with electronics the last couple days. Switch mobile carriers and everything blows up. I don't know. Did everybody see it?
I don't know. I changed the music, but
yeah. All right, man. Well, let's get rolling here.
Michael saw it. All right, cool.
Everybody saw it. Okay, just acted up on my end. I was like, "Wow, what's going on?" All right, cool. All right,
Thanks,
we're going to get into this, guys. Giants rotation. We've got the ace, Logan Webb, out there. Maybe you can overlay that. We've got the Kyle Harrison, the can't remember
high
what
potential.
it said.
High potential.
High potential, yeah. High potential. And then we've got the experiment with Jordan Hicks. And then we've got the question mark with Keaton Wynn. And we don't even know who the fifth starter is at this point.
No.
Is the fifth starter going to be Mason Black? Is it going to be Carson Wisenhunt? Is it going to be this guy? I got to put a double pair of glasses on, guys. I can't read. I can't wear my contacts this week because I'm getting cataract surgery in 2 weeks. And next week, I got to get these measurements. And they say you can't wear contacts for your cornea, the new lens. Gotcha. So I guess the contacts can change the shape of that. So anyway.
I'm uploading it right now. We'll see what we got. There you go.
Okay, so we've got the high potential. Yeah, the ace, the high potential, the experiment, and Keaton Wynn is the fourth guy. And we don't even know if he's going to be ready to roll.
Nope.
And
there is no fifth guy. No fifth guy.
Yeah, no fifth guy. Who's the fifth guy going to be? Who's the guy that pitched today? I can't even remember his name. Never heard of him.
Never heard of him. Howard? Who the hell's Howard?
I knew Frank Howard, but I can't be Frank Howard. Is it Ron Howard from Happy Days? And
I don't think it's Ron Howard.
American Graffiti. Is it Juwan Howard, former player and basketball coach of Michigan? What's his name? What's this guy's name? Howard.
Yeah.
Howard. Is it Howard Gausel? Howard. Yeah. What's this guy's name? Hold on. Let me look him up.
Last name was Howard. I don't know who the guy is. I've never heard of him.
Howard. He goes by Spencer.
Spencer Howard. Former top prospect, I think.
Really? Okay.
According to Grant. All
right. Maybe he's good. You never know. Gosh, I can't see. I hate putting these. This is going to be a crazy week. Can you wait a minute? Can you tell two pair of glasses are on, or is it? I can't quite.
What? Well, now
maybe if I wear them like that, right there.
Oh, man.
I can see the chat if I get up close.
How about I just read the chat? How about that?
There we go. You read the chat.
I'll just read the chat and I'll put it up and read it.
Dan, I guess you changed your mind on Matt Chapman. I said, Mike, that I'm okay with Chapman if it's a 2-year deal or something of that nature. I did not want Matt Chapman for 5 years and $100 million plus. As it sounds now, I'm actually okay with it because it's possible he opts out after 1 year. Hopefully he has a stellar year. The worst thing for the Giants, here's the worst thing, guys, that can happen for the Giants is Matt Chapman either sucks it up, just stinks like crazy, or he gets hurt and the Giants don't do anything. They fizzle because then it's going to be like Conforto 2.0. He's going to opt back in. What you want from Matt Chapman is to have a really good year that helps the club get into the playoffs, and they either renegotiate the deal if he's still got it, and they sign him for a few more years that is guaranteed, or he opts out and you got production out of him. And now you haven't blocked Casey Schmidt for 5 years. So I'm okay with it, with the fact that it's a short-term deal.
Giants Beta wants to know if you went to any of the games this weekend.
I did not go this week. Dan, you didn't want Chapman at all. You wanted Kate. Yes, I did. I wanted Casey Schmidt to start, and I still would like Casey, but I'm okay with Chapman if they add a starting pitching. I'll tell you what, Giants ain't going anywhere with this thumbnail that we put up there if that's your rotation.
Correct.
Okay? You can add Matt Chapman and you can add a better shortstop than what they got out there right now that's promises to be a more productive. And without pitching, you're not going to win. You're just not. The Giants have a lot of guys that strike out still. Chapman and Soler strike out a lot, guys.
Yep.
They're going to give you the power, the long ball, but they're also going to come up and strike out with men on base in key situations a lot. And those games, when that happens, and you need runs because you're giving up 5 runs a game or 6, you're going to need to score. And some nights it's going to pay off. Some nights Soler's going to hit a 3-run bomb and you're going to win. Some nights Chapman's going to do the same. Many nights Chapman's going to save you runs defensively, and it's going to help keep the runs down, and you might win some of those games. Other nights, ball's going to get through the hole, and you're not going to score enough runs. So, are the Giants a little better on paper between the lines? Yes, I think they are. I think they're a little better. Not a lot. The odds makers only went from 81.5 wins to 82.5 by adding Chapman. So they picked up a whole game.
So Vegas is not impressed, right?
82.5 games is not going to get you into the playoffs. The over-under. Now, they think it's, Vegas is pretty good at setting those marks. Sometimes they're wrong, but what does Hiroko say here? The Giants will
compete with the strikeout record established last year.
Yeah, they're going to strike out a lot, guys. You look at that lineup. Estrada strikes out a lot.
Ahmed,
who's third? Wade
doesn't strike out too much.
Yaz does. Conforto does. Soler does. Chapman does.
If
Luciano or Schmidt, either one of those guys, they do.
You know what? What happened? I was kind of excited. I mean, this is just me. And look, there is no right or wrong answer, right? I don't think. Everyone's going to have their own opinion on what they think, whether Chapman's role in the club, along with everyone else. Everyone's going to have their own opinion. I'm fine. That's fine. You guys think, if there's people out there that think that the Giants are going to tear it up, okay, that's your opinion. That's fine. Me personally, I don't care for it. I think the priorities should have been starting pitching. That's me. We were excited about having Casey Schmidt be at third and Luciano be at shortstop. But now it looks more like it's going to be Chapman at third base and Nick Ahmed at shortstop. Granted, no decisions have been made yet, but I've been seeing a lot of that being thrown around. And it's like, what happened? Where's the young guys? Remember, Farhan already said what the outfield's going to be. It's going to be Conforto, Lee, and Yaz. He already said it. He said it was going to be a challenge for Matos to get any type of at-bats. So who's the young guys that's going to be out in the field? Who's the position players? Who's the young guys? Lee and Bailey, right? That's it. Lee and Bailey. I don't know. I kind of wanted to see it as more of a development. They blew it last year when they could have played the younger guys a lot more than what they did. This year, they could have even got a bigger run to see what you have. Again, you still don't know what you have. You don't. At the big league level, you don't know what you have. And this is an opportunity. So now with the Chapman thing, what if he has a great year? Guess what he's going to do? He's going to opt out. Now who's going to play third base? It's going to probably be Casey Schmidt, right? Maybe. Probably. But guess what? You just lost the year from him being able to play at the big league level a year prior. So you're stunting his growth to a certain extent, right?
Yeah, he is a little bit
right
older.
Now, it's not even about weight. Look, is the additions that they have? Yes. Are their chances a little bit better? Yes. And again, when the season starts, we don't know. But don't you want to see what these young guys isn't that what Farhan came here to do? Isn't he the one that said, hey, or the Giants said we need to redo our draft? This Farhan's our guy to go out there and draft and develop these guys and see what we got. And we're not. And that's the part that upsets me, is that you don't know what we have as far as prospects are concerned. Are they gonna work out? We don't know. We don't know. Now we're going kind of with the veteran lineup. Okay, fine. Fine. I mean, if you guys think that's gonna, you think you're gonna win the division, it just reeks of let's just try to get into the wild card. Look at the teams, guys. You think that St. Louis is going to have another down year, or the New York Mets? Well, they may, but there's other teams that are getting better. Cincinnati Reds, the Cubs. I think they got a good pitching staff. They got some young guys that may be able to contribute. So they may play better than last year. I don't know. I'm just saying, are they? Yes, I'm not saying they're not a worse team. I'm not saying that, but are they better to the point where they're going to actually compete, or is it just going to be one of these? We tried our best, but it just wasn't in the cards. We don't even have a starting rotation, and I don't understand when people are out there saying this is the best offseason the Giants have had. How? Because they spent $280 million. And they still don't have a starting rotation?
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, that's just me, right? It's just me. Okay, Brian. So give it up to young talent. So then Farhan totally failed in drafting the developing players coming up for the Giants. So we have no. So if the young talent didn't work, we're screwed then. Because who's going to play third base next year if Chapman has a great year and he opts out? Nick Ahmed, have you seen what his career numbers is? Yes. Is he a great defensive shortstop? Yes. Is Chapman a great defensive third baseman? Yes. But are their bats playing to the level that you need to be able to win some games? Who's out there? Mike, who are they going to sign? The Giants are $10 million away from being over the CBT, right? If they sign Snell, they're going to have to give up another draft pick. So they give up 2 draft picks this coming year, and they got to give up another $500,000. Really? Do you really think they're going to go out there? They could. I'm not saying they won't. But come on, shouldn't have that been the priority from the get-go, was to get starting pitching? I agree, Darren. Why not Clevenger? But you know what? They're not going to touch him with a 10-foot pole because he's got domestic issues, domestic abuse issues. It's the same thing. They could. How many times have we heard this? Oh, the reason why I'm saying Nick Ahmed, Asif, is that seems to be the talk going around. Oh, Ahmed's doing great. He's making a bid to be the shortstop. Who else is right now? Who else is playing shortstop right now? Yeah, Fitzgerald, I think, is a little bit right. Ahmad seems to be out there a lot. Who else is playing shortstop a lot right now in spring training? Luciano. Great Granted, it's spring training. There's plenty of spring training left to go, but man, he's not even getting a bat on the ball right now. You know, it's one thing if you're hitting into outs, but it's another thing when you keep striking out.
Yeah, he's struggling quite a bit.
I don't know. I mean,
I saw
am
a
I
little
wrong on this?
article up here, not an article, a chat. I want to pull this one up. Heroku, quite a ways back, about last year with the playoffs around June. Yeah, here it is. Heroku, Dan, Eric Bohr, Giants playoffs, Los, and Heroku, no playoffs when the Giants were in first place in June. Correct. I did buy into it the way things were going and thought that, hold on, I got to stop talking right now for a sec. Hold on. I'm texting and
Okay, go for it. Mike's saying
it's repeating. It's picking up my voice on the text. So
all right, do what you got to do. And
let me get the voice thing off.
no, I do not believe in Farhan. I don't care, man. Everyone's going gaga over Farhan. Oh my God, I can't believe he got Chapman. Is he that much of a difference maker, guys? Come on.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. He's a great glove, but is he they're acting like this guy is freaking Shohei Ohtani as far as skill is concerned.
Yeah. And Heroku, shortly after the trade deadline, I reboked. How do I say that? I reneged on my playoff deal, even though they were in the wild card hunt when they did nothing and got AJ Pollock. And I saw where this thing was going. I said, they're not going to make the playoffs. They're going to fade. And I said that San Diego would pass them. And I thought I was going to be wrong on that, but it turned out that San Diego did pass them and catch them. So, yeah. So sometimes we make calls and then sometimes we, can make a change on them.
Yep.
But I don't see this team right now. It depends. I'm gonna pull something.
And Mike, come on, man. You're gonna tell me that this was not what do you okay, tell me, Mike. What do you equate success for? What do you equate successful? Specifically to this season, tell me why you think it's successful? Yeah, 2010 was a little bit different though. You still had elite pitching, right? The hitting was kind of suspect, but the pitching was there, right? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, Ned says that's a great deal. Okay,
he says it's the best ever. You know what? Everybody has their opinion in sports. Doesn't mean. I mean, Ned obviously is pretty well educated and knows the game,
absolutely.
But he's not. He wasn't right. You're not right all the time just because you're in the game. Okay, I think it is a decent signing. And it could turn out to be one of their best signings. It really could. It could also turn the other way. Time will tell. But just because Ned said it doesn't make it, guaranteed.
Starting pitching was the priority. Should be the priority, right? So tell me, guys. Let's put the poll out there then. Let's put a poll out there then. Like I said, you guys, everyone can have their own opinion on what they feel success is. That's fine. I get it. We're talking baseball here. We may be right, we may be wrong, but who cares? I'm just saying that this is how I feel. I thought the rotation should have been a priority.
Hold on here. Yeah, keep going. I got to take care of some business here.
Yeah, go ahead. All right. Okay, I got the poll out there. Just put it out there. Tell me what you guys think. No, I'm not saying that they didn't. Nope, Brian, not saying that they didn't make moves. Yes, they made moves. They got a good middle of the order bat with Soler. Got it. Got a great defensive third baseman in Chapman. Got it. All right. You picked up Robbie Ray, who's recovering from Tommy John. That may work out, but it's probably not going to, you're not going to see the fruits of that trade until next year, right? You got Jordan Hicks, who you're putting into a starting pitching position where he really hasn't excelled. So that's an experiment, right? We don't know. We don't know what that's going to consist of. You overpaid for Jung Hoo Lee, right? You probably could have got Jung Hoo Lee probably for $60 to $70 million. And then guess what? You probably could have had some extra money, so it wouldn't have been an issue to try to go get a top flight starting pitcher without going over to CBT, because, you know, the ownership around here is so worried about going over to CBT. Come on. Just because they made moves and spent money doesn't mean it's going to work out. Look, I'm all for spending money, but let's get the right guys that we need. I don't know. Jung Hoo Lee may turn out to be a fantastic player. I can be totally wrong, but you overpaid. You overpaid for him.
Hey, they need to sign a pitcher in the worst way or make a trade. You know, whether that's JD Davis and Yaz go in a deal, or JD Davis and Conforto, or, you know, I would think somebody could get something, might want Davis and Yaz because Yaz is controllable. He's still got some arbitration years left, and you might be able to, you know, get a starting pitcher from somebody. But the problem is you got to find starting pitching with teams that don't think they're really going to compete, because anybody who thinks they have a chance to compete is not going to give away one of their better starters. You know, you're just not going to get a number 2 or 3 starting pitcher from a pretty good team. That's why I think they blew it on the Corbin Burns deal.
I was just going to say that. And dang it, you read my mind, Dan. Because
Yeah.
Tony says, name one realistic pitcher they could have signed. They could have traded for Corbin Burns. Orioles did not give up a whole lot, right? Compared to what we think the Giants, that's what I'm saying. What we think of our prospects may be a little bit different, I guess. I don't know. But couldn't the Giants have pulled off a trade for Corbin Burns, who's a Bay Area native? Are you telling me the Giant? Oh, man. You explain that to me. Why? Okay, then why did the Giants not get Corbin Burns? What's the issue? I mean, we don't know. We're not in it, but Tony says rentals. Yeah. Chapman's kind of a rental, right? Either he's a rental where he bolts after this year, or he sucks and then you're stuck with him for another 2 years. Unless is there a team option in there somewhere? I know there was some talk of it, but I haven't heard. Yeah, the Braves got Chris Sale. Yeah, they sure did. Yeah, they did. Could they get they could get another pitcher. I'm not saying that they won't. I'm just saying that's the priority. That's the priority. I don't think Burns was injured. It's pretty good. Pretty good, Hiroku. I smell what you're stepping in. Chapman will help us get a starter. Come on. Stop listening to Dan Boris. Stop listening to Boris. They're going to say that. They're going to say that, of course. No, you know what attracts pitchers? Take a guess at what attracts pitchers. Couple of things, right? They want to win, I'm pretty sure. And they probably want to make a lot of money. Of course. Do they want a good defense behind him? Get it. But is that going to really say, hey, you know what? Yeah, they got Chapman at third base, so I'm going to go ahead and sign with the Giants. Come on. Come on, man. And if Chapman was so sought after and such a good find, Why did he wait this long to go sign? He actually turned down a goodness gracious. I think he was gambling on himself, I think, right, Dan? I think he was gambling on himself, thinking
Chapman?
he was getting to get some big giant contract.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Give Farhan his credit. Not yet. Nope. What has he done, Mike? What has he done? What has he done in 5 years? We're going into year 6. What has he done? Come on, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I ain't buying that shit. Not yet. Not yet. I'm not going to say it because he signed a bunch of players in the offseason. Oh, yeah. God, he spent $280 million, guys. $280 million. Farhan's the guy. That's right. I'm all wrong, guys. I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Farhan is the best thing since sliced bread. He went out and spent money. Didn't put together a starting rotation yet. But you know what? Because he went out there and spent money. Wow. Bravo. Thanks, guys. Now I see the light now, guys. I see the light. You know, even though in the 5 years that he has been in charge of baseball operations, he's got a 20% winning percentage, right? Out of winning seasons, that is. Sure. There you go. And I love it when people talk about, oh, you know what? Look at all the guys we got and the guys we got rid of. Well, don't forget the guys you got rid of was the guys that Farhan went and got last year. Or even 2 years before that. Come on. Just because he goes out and spends money doesn't equal that it's going to be a good team.
Yeah, let me pull up something here. Let me see if I can pull this up here. 1 second here. Man,
I don't get it. We don't even have a starting rotation. This is the best offseason the Giants have ever had in history. Come on. Damn right I hate Farhan. Not as a person, but as a president of baseball operations, 100%.
Yeah, he's horrible.
He's horrible. Look what he's done. So you're saying because of what he's done in this offseason, come on, man.
Did this pull up here?
It's your email.
Ah, shoot. It didn't pull up. Hold on.
Whatever link that it opens up, you want to get that.
Let me pull it back up here. There we go.
I don't understand how we're predicting here. Let me get
all right. Let's check this out, guys. Predicting every major league team's 24 opening day lineup. And we're going to go to, there's the Diamondbacks: Corbin Carroll, Marte, Walker, Peterson, Suarez, Gurriel Jr., Moreno, Thomas, Perdomo.
It's a pretty damn good lineup.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, pretty good lineup. Braves.
Not to mention the rotate. They didn't even get into the rotation, did they? Just the
lineup,
right?
But we're gonna go to skip to the Giants and see what this is alphabetical, so they're gonna be toward the end. Let me see, where am I at? New York. Okay, so we got a few more.
And this is projected up to this time.
This is just as of March 1st. So this, okay. I should have Chapman in here. I'm pretty sure I looked at it. Okay, Texas, I went too far. Okay, here we go. Projected lineup: Jung-Hoo Lee, Estrada, Wade, Soler, Chapman, Conforto, Yastrzemski, Luciano, Bailey, Webb. Notes. Now how do I get this out? Is that thing showing up where it says
you just got a minute? You got a minute. Yeah, the previous and next.
How do you do that? You hit on it or?
No. Just leave it. Just minimize a little bit more. Can you minimize the screen? Because it's really zoomed in pretty far. You can't.
Okay.
There you go. There you go.
After whiffing on some top, she's gonna just
whatever. Yeah, I'll scroll. You're good. You're good. Just
right.
Yeah.
Versatile infielder K. Schmidt, non-roster inviting Nick Ahmed are the leading candidates. Push top. Okay. So this isn't the article. Maybe I got another one. Maybe I got another one.
Exactly, James. Why did they keep Jazz and Slater? Yes, Los. I saw what you said earlier. I like what you said. I'm not going to say, I don't know if it's most, but there is Giants fans have lowered the bad and lowered the bad and lower the bar and expectations. Making the playoffs is a thrill. Exactly. Come on. Seriously? Is that what we want? Are we excited about, hey, you know what? We got a damn good wild card team, guys. Woo! Yeah, let's go. We ain't got no starting rotation. But woo, we're ready to go, guys. Let's go do it. I could be totally wrong. Like I said, I could be totally wrong, and that's fine. I'm fine. You want us to compare with Mike, if you want to beat the Dodgers, right? Don't you got to have talent? So do you want to compare? Absolutely, you want to compare. Absolutely, you want to compare. Don't you want to win the division? We're the San Francisco Giants, guys. The San Francisco Giants. Do you not want to win? Do you not want to win your division? Are you happy? Are people happy with just getting into the wild card? Is that it? Don't you want something? You want to win the World Series? Okay, then shouldn't you demand, hey, let's get some better players. And yes, I'm going to go after Farhan. He came in to rebuild the farm system. Supposedly that was devastated, right? Right? It was supposed to be devastated. Farhan was going to come in and save the day with the young talent. And they're not even playing them now. They're not even playing said young talent.
Yeah.
I mean, you got all these outfielders, right? You don't know what Ramos has. Yeah, a lot of people say Ramos sucks. Okay, I understand it. He may suck, but he's had 79 total major league at-bats. You got Matos out there, who last year, handled himself pretty well. Hit 250 for his first year in the freaking in the big leagues. That's not so bad. He may have something there. He's not going to be in the start or be a starter in the outfield. Kyle Harrison, he may be something. We don't know. I hope he's something. He may be something, right? Now where do you had to go sign Jung-Hoo Lee for your outfield, and you already have a bunch of young guys for the outfield, right? Supposedly. Wasn't it Farhan Zaidi last year that said Fitzgerald is the best center fielder he's ever seen? Didn't he say that, guys? Am I wrong? Am I wrong when Farhan said Tyler Fitzgerald is the best center fielder that he's ever seen, and he never came up as an outfielder? I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what direction we're going. I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to see what the young guys have. It doesn't look like they're going to really be in it. Let's see what we got. Teams go through that, right? Teams will go through stretches where they're not going to be so good for a couple of years because you're bringing up your young guys and see what they got. But I guess that's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
I wanted to see the areas that I want them to improve on was the starting pitching. Because when you got damn good starting pitching, you could stay in the game. You can stay in the game. Isn't that how we won 3 World Series in 5 years, guys? Wasn't it because of excellent pitching, right?
Absolutely.
Right? I get the
pitching and defense.
Pitching, defense, timely hitting, right? So what do we have right now? Okay. Defense is a little bit better. Okay. Where's the pitching? Would you say the pitching is good right now? Let's take a look at the poll. Look at that. 78 votes right now. Are you happy with the current rotation? 82% say no. So you tell me, if 82% of the people in this poll are not happy with the current rotation, then how in the hell are you going to compete during the regular season to win the World Series? Oh yeah, we do have a good. I like our bullpen. Could even be better if you had Jordan Hicks in the back half of that damn bullpen. Of course not. Then why do you say this is successful, Mike? Mike, then why do you think this is successful? If you want to say, yeah, the Giants added a bunch of pieces, they may have a chance or they're better, but to sit there and say that it's successful? Bah. We're waiting on Cobb and Ray. Great. You got Cobb coming off of hip surgery, and you got Ray coming back from Tommy John.
It could work, but you might be out of it by the time those guys.
By the time they come around, yeah,
you could be out of it. If the hope is that the pitching holds up.
Yeah,
that they hold up and they can stay in the race. And you know what? The plan could work. You know what? It could work.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'll come on here and say, guys, I was wrong.
So,
but have you seen a team go very far without having pitching?
No.
You don't usually hit your way,
yeah.
Right? You usually don't hit your way. You got to have some damn good. Now, don't get me wrong. Can hitting and good pitching make up for bad defense? Yeah, that could.
All right. Here's the article I was looking to share. Hopefully, okay. Here we go. All right. So this San Francisco Giants edition, is this volume on? Good. It's not off. Okay, good. I have it off. San Francisco Giants edition of Matt Chapman completes revamped lineup, but will they have enough pitching to stay afloat in the National League West? Jordan Schusterman, senior MLB analyst. For the second straight season, the Giants have been tremendously active in free agency. Also, for the second straight offseason, we're left wondering if they've done enough to meaningfully alter a projection that has them at once again slated for, can you read that word, Eric?
Mediocrity.
Okay, guys. So don't get me wrong. This year's crop of additions, most recently bolstered by the signing of third baseman Matt Chapman, is looking far stronger than the mismatch of mids that they brought in a year ago. But in the larger context of San Francisco's grand ambitions of bigger splashes, Judge, Correa, last year, Ohtani, Yamamoto, this time around, it's hard not to view every subsequent move through the lens of consolation. And with the Giants' top targets this offseason both landing with their biggest rivals down the coast, the California coast, this winter feels like a respectable pivot rather than a smashing success. All that said, the Giants front office deserves credit for making far more significant changes than they did a year ago. Last winter, after missing out on Judge, Ouch, and nixing Correa's mega deal due to concerns about medical, perhaps a prudent decision, the Giants chose to spread nearly $200 million across 8 Major League Baseball free agents. This is last year. Haniger, Conforto, Rogers, Stripling, Manaea, Peterson, Jackson, and Perez.
How many are left on the roster right now?
Let's see. We've got Conforto, Rogers, and Jackson. 3 of 8.
Got it.
With some of these signings proved more effective than others, I don't think I'm breaking news by saying that group didn't exactly fuel World Series aspirations for San Francisco or its fan base. Fast forward past last season's 79-83 finish to today, and Rogers and Jackson remain key pieces of the bullpen. The other 5 are no longer on the roster. Last year, the Giants ranked 8th in total free agent spending. This winter, after landing Chapman, San Francisco's free agent bill of guaranteed money has soared to $261, given to 5 free agents: Jung-Hoo Lee, Chapman, Soler, Hicks, and Murphy. You can see the figures there. The total pales in comparison to the laughable sums of cash thrown around the rival Dodgers, deferred or not, but it's also comfortably more than any other team has spent in free agency this winter, with the Phillies a distant third due almost entirely to the $172 million deal they gave Aaron Nola the offseason. We know spending big doesn't always translate to wins, but this kind of outlay from the Giants is something of an indication that the relative half measures taken in free agency a year ago weren't going to cut it this time. This winter, the Giants needed impact and star power, and they did quite well after the disappointment of missing out on Ohtani and Yamamoto. A potential franchise center fielder in Lee, whose prime should be ahead of him, rare for a free agent, a legitimate power threat the kind of organization has lacked for so long in Soler, and an elite third base defender with a streaky yet potent bat in Chapman. Adding 3 everyday players to the lineup and bringing in a new manager in Bob Melvin are compelling strides toward launching this roster out of the swamp of mediocrity in which it has been mired for the past 2 years. While a lot will have to go right, especially on the mound, for the Giants to be rock-solid postseason contenders, their upgrades put them firmly in the crowded mix of NL hopefuls looking to outperform projections and snag a wildcard spot. In securing Chapman on a shorter-term deal, the Giants effectively won a staring contest with Boros in a similar manner what the Cubs did with Bellinger. Like Bellinger, Chapman boasted a wealth of hardware and demonstrated superstar upside in the not-so-distant past, but the volatility of his offensive game evidently scared potential suitors away from the kind of long-term commitments normally associated with the top free agents on the market. While Chapman was still a top target for San Francisco due to his excellent defense and relationship with Melvin, dating their days in Oakland, the Giants waited long enough to line up a deal that assumes far less risk for the team. That is good. Now, with 2 frontline starters still available, Snell and Montgomery, it's hard to wonder if the Giants have one more big move in them. Speaking to reporters, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Asked about whatever Farhan says, you can't even listen to, so it doesn't matter what he says. Perhaps Zaidi is being truthful, and San Francisco has zero intention of signing another starting pitcher before opening day. But if there is interest in adding to the rotation, this stance is an entirely practical one to take publicly, with Snell and Montgomery still unsigned. From a negotiation standpoint, what does Zaidi gain from declaring how badly the Giants still need a starter? True. Instead, hyping up internal options is an obvious way to project outward that perhaps the prize free agent Southpaws need a home like San Francisco more than San Francisco needs them. To that, I give him credit, because he used to always, tell what he was going to do, and it was, you don't do that in negotiations. And if the deals Bellinger and Chapman settled for are any indication, such a tactic might prove prudent if Boras is unable to secure more lucrative deals elsewhere. Regardless of the front office's true feelings, it seems entirely fair to look at how San Francisco has addressed the pitching staff thus far and wonder if said moves are sufficient. Okay, this is all we're saying, guys, what most baseball people have been saying, are saying. With Logan Webb cemented as the staff ace and top prospect Kyle Harrison ready for a regular run at the cup of coffee after a cup of coffee last season, only 2 rotation spots appeared accounted for when the winter meetings began, heightening the expectation that the pitching staff would be addressed externally in some fashion. Even after the team missed out on Yamamoto, there remained several free agents starting pitching options that could have slotted in behind Webb. Instead, the Giants opted to sign a flame-throwing reliever, Jordan Hicks, as a starter and trade for a rehabbing Robbie Ray. The optimistic outlook features Hicks harnessing his high-powered arsenal over 100-plus innings and Ray returning midsummer in all-star form and time for a playoff push. A more gloomy vision sees Hicks' control issues proving untenable as a starter and the Giants being too far back in the standings in the second half for Ray's return to mean much at all. How the season unfolds remains to be seen, of course, but one thing is clear. While the Hicks and Ray acquisitions could be applauded for their creativity, it's tough to feel as good about them as we do about the more straightforward upgrades to the lineup. Finally, it must be said, no matter how rose-colored your glasses might be following the additions, the Giants face an uphill battle in the NL West. That has been true for the past decade, considering the Dodgers' dominant presence, which is somehow further amplified by the additions of Shohei, Ohtani, Yamamoto, Glasnow, among others. But it's not just about the Giants' biggest rivals in LA. Arizona is not only coming off a surprise NL pennant run, they too made some significant offseason additions to bolster an already ascendant roster. And while Melvin's old club in San Diego might have lost more than it gained this winter, the Padres still boast a tremendously talented roster that should benefit greatly from flushing the bad vibes and the ridiculous amount of bad baseball luck they endured in 23. That will flip. All those close one-run games they lost, it's going to flip. So simply beating up on the Rockies, against whom the Giants are 38-13 the past 3 seasons, goes only so far. San Francisco has a tough road ahead in the division. One more move for a starting pitcher would go a long way, though. So there you guys have it. That's exactly what Eric and I are saying. And we welcome in Los.
What's up, Los?
To the room.
You're muted, I think, Los.
Hello, boys.
There you go.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a it's right now. I said a week ago that the team was probably about a 74 to 78, 79 win team. I think they're about an 80 to 82, 83 win team right now. That's not enough.
Nope.
They got to add starting pitching. And if they do, they might be an 85 to 88, 89 win team. And that might get them in. Though that would get them in. 84 last year got the Diamondbacks in. I don't see that going that low. I see bare minimum 85 wins you need to get in. I think other teams will rise up and bounce back, even though there are a lot of weak teams. I don't see anybody in the National League Central being that great. I don't see anybody in the East except the Braves and the Phillies. The Mets are, they're kind of where the Giants are, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You
don't think Cincinnati's going to be better this year?
They could be. They could be. They should be, but is it enough to get them over 85 wins? I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
Cubs.
There's a lot of mediocrity in
who's kind of intriguing me a little bit? The Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah, they could improve.
That Paul Skeens and who's that kid they got? Is he a outfielder and a catcher? What's his name? Davis? Is that his last name? He looks potential. And then you're going to have O'Neal Cruz back for a whole season.
If you guys want a great bet on over-under for wins, take the over on the Washington Nationals. They have some talent. They're at like 67.5. They're winning more than that. Trust
really?
me.
They're at 67.5?
Yeah.
Henry Davis. Thank you, Mike.
I'm studying for fantasy. So I pretty much got all the rosters down, and boy, the Nationals have more talent than the Giants.
And they got that. Who's that kid that you were talking about? The outfielder, Dan, last year that they traded for from the Dodgers?
Lane Thomas?
Not Lane Thomas. It's a different guy.
There's a kid
the Nationals got from the Dodgers.
There's a kid.
They got James Woods from.
That's who it is.
From the Padres.
They were showing some. That
was from for the Soto deal.
I guess he's been hitting the ball pretty good. Granted, it's spring training, so I don't put a whole lot of stock in spring. You want to see people do well, but it doesn't always equal, success in the major leagues.
Look, bottom line, people here, are getting excited because it's getting close to the season. I get it. It's optimism. That's what spring training is for. But you just got to look at the roster, and it's similar to last year in that there's just no starting pitching depth. And we're going to have, the same problems where our starters are not going to go deep into games. And our bullpen, which is pretty good, is going to start to get tired and worn out by around July, August, because other than Webb, we don't have guys that can go 6-7 innings. And if you're relying on, the saviors of Cobb and Ray to come back, they're going to be coming off injuries. They're not going to be going out there throwing 7-8 innings. They're going to be throwing 5 innings, working themselves back. And we're going to have the same problem that happened last year. We're going to have a team that has a very used, beat up bullpen. Now, the hitting is a little better, but it's not enough to, push anything over 500, in my opinion. They're still a 76 to 79 win team. even with Chapman. So we'll see, but that's why they play the games.
Exactly. I mean, honestly, don't get me wrong, his defense is going to help. I get it. I understand that. The run differential will be better with Chapman at third base, but does that equal wins? I don't know. His bat is very similar to what Davis's. Has a little bit more power than Davis, but it's still the same bat, right?
Let me tell you something. His defense is not going to make any difference in the world if the ball's going over the fence.
Over the fence. Absolutely.
It's not going to help. It's
well,
not.
Let's think about it. We talked about this the other on Friday with Dan. Webb, you could pencil in him for 200 innings plus, right? Yep. Harrison has even pitched 100 innings in a season. Not in major leagues. Remember, last year was his first cup of coffee.
Yep.
How many innings has he been thrown as a starter before? I think he's got what was the history? Dan Hicks, 5 starts, and I think that was it.
8 career starts, made the 5th inning once.
Wynn has never sniffed 100 innings, right? And then the 5th starter, we don't know who it is. Mike says, Eric, please stop. What do you want me to stop? What am I saying that isn't? I'm just talking facts here. Am I not?
They want to hear positivity. They want to hear us say that they're going to win the division and they're going to be a threat.
I mean, but I'd be lying.
That I know. That's what they want to hear. They want to hear lies.
I don't understand. I don't get it.
They'd rather
Negative
hear lies.
Nancy's, yeah. Come on, man. What have we? Tell me in 5 years, what has Farhan done for this club to make you feel positive?
Yeah.
Right? Where's these young guys that we've been talking about? Right? Where's the young guy? Oh, we got these young guys coming out. I kept hearing it over and over. We got the young guys are coming up. Young guys are coming up. Young guys. Where's the young guys right now? Oh, yeah, they're not playing. You got Nick Ahmed at shortstop, and now you signed Chapman.
Mike, you probably haven't been in the show for very long, but yeah, last year when they were 10 games over 500, I said they would not make the playoffs. You probably would have called me out and said I was negative, and I was right.
Matos? Mike, did you read what Farhan said before spring training started? He said the starting outfielders were going to be Conforto, Lee, and Yaz. He said that. He also said it's going to be a challenge to get at-bats for Mr. Matos. What's that tell you? What does that tell you? Does Mike, is that screaming, let's play the young guys? It doesn't sound like it to me. It sounds like it's a rerun.
That tells me the GM should not be making those statements. That should be the manager making
absolutely.
So why is Farhan coming out and saying,
I agree,
what our outfield's going to be? Like, what the hell spring training for then? Let's just roll right into it.
Exactly.
I mean, Marty Lurie said that a couple of weeks ago. It doesn't matter if Ramos or Matos hits 700 in spring training. They are obsessed and they are committed to Yaz playing. And if that's what you're excited about, then more power to you, man.
Matos is smashing the ball in spring training. How many guys have we seen in spring training who look like they're the second coming of Babe Ruth? And where did they wind up? Where was Brett Pill? Where was who's the other guy? There was another guy. Can't remember what his damn name was. Everyone is bagging him. The guy's killing in spring training. He's got to make the roster. I think he survived in the big leagues for 2 weeks. Right?
Oh,
and listen to this. And I'm not against Matos. I want Matos to play. But it's Farhan. A show? It's Farhan. He's the one that said it, not me. Farhan said it. Go look it up. Farhan said the starting outfielders is going to be Conforto, Lee, and Yaz. He said it was going to be a challenge for Matos to get at bats. This is not from me. This is from Farhan. I'm just repeating what Farhan. Don't shoot the messenger. Come on.
It sounds like a Military History Chronicles episode.
Oh, I know, man. Gosh, dang. I'm just restating what people are saying. What I mean by people, I'm talking about the president of baseball operations.
Eric. That's why I came in to get in the bunker with you and fight.
Nice. Appreciate it. I need someone else in a foxhole with me.
There you go. Foxhole. That's it. That's the word I wanted.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's like I said, it's spring training. The optimism is there.
Oh, absolutely. I get it.
It's just the Giants fan base desperately wants the team to win. You want this, you want that. I want this for Christmas. I want this as a promotion. But the reality is until if they get a couple of pitchers, then we're talking.
Yes.
Legitimate starting pitchers, not 3 weeks from now, some guy with a 6 ERA got cut and the Giants are going to throw him right into the rotation like Farhan did with Connor Joe and that other guy. He just got cut and
Michael Reed
right into the starting lineup on opening day.
Yep.
That is his reputation and that is his MO. And I said this 3 weeks ago. That's what he's going to do. He's not going to sign Snell or Montgomery. I'd be shocked. He's going to wait until some average pitcher gets cut. He's going to pick them up, and that's going to be our 4th and 5th starters. He might pick up 2 of them. And
we need ideally 2 starting pitchers, right? But
2.
if we get if we get a decent one, maybe they do something. But my goodness, man, like you said, I mean, you could have the best defense that you want, but if you're giving up runs all over the place,
yeah,
what's the point?
Yeah, I'm just going to hold out and observe. Chapman, he's here now. None of us wanted him, but he's here. Let's see what he does. I'm hearing the excuse that he didn't hit last year because of a finger injury. So we'll see. I wonder what the excuses were the other years. He's not the same player he was with the A's.
He's a career 240 hitter. Don't get me wrong. He's got power. But JD Davis is a career 240 hitter.
Yeah. I mean, if you combine Casey Schmidt and JD Davis, you have Matt Chapman. JD on the hitting side and Casey on the glove side. Right. And you got those 2 guys for $6.5 million. So instead of playing those 2 guys, let JD start. Let Casey come in late game for defensive purposes if they have a lead. You got them for $6.5 million. You got 18 to 20 million to spend on a pitcher. Instead, they got Chapman, who's basically JD Davis. It's JD Schmidt and Casey Davis is basically. Those 2 guys equal Matt Chapman. Matt Chapman's going to hit 240 to 250. He's going to hit about 18 to 22 homers. He's going to play pretty good defense. And to me, that's not 18 to 20 million a year. That's about 11 to 12 million a year. But in today's standards, I mean, we're talking about overpaying and people getting overpaid. Chapman got overpaid. We'll see, though. I hope he proves me wrong. Last year, he got off to a great start and then all downhill from there in a hitter's ballpark. So we'll see.
I mean, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, right? If you think because Farhan made hella moves this offseason, and if you're upset that we're not happy about the hella moves that he made this season, and you think that we're fair weather.
Just because you make a lot of moves doesn't mean
that doesn't equal. A fair weather fan is the type of person that gets all excited about signing a bunch of guys and you still suck. That's a fair weather fan.
I'll tell you what.
I'll
tell you what. Farhan and the Giants are like that dude that goes into a nightclub and looks around at the most beautiful girls in the club and asks them to dance, and they all say no. And he just settles for like whatever and says, oh, I think she'll dance with me. I'm just going to settle for that. And then people are like, yeah, he's dancing with her. He settled for like the 3rd tier of free agents. All the best free agents either didn't want to come here or he didn't offer enough or whatever the case is. So if you're ecstatic and happy, the only signing that I liked really was Lee, to be honest. I wasn't crazy about Hicks. I'm not crazy about
he overpaid.
Chapman.
Right? You could say that he overpaid for Lee.
Yeah, he overpaid. Yeah. He overpaid for Lee, for sure. Nobody was going to give Lee that money. I think I've been on record from the beginning. I think Lee's going to be a pretty good player. I'm not thrilled with Hicks at all. Like I said, I saw him live behind the plate. He throws hard, but he throws straight. Straight fastball can get hit. He's not a starter. They're trying to make him a starter. That's not going to work out well. Chapman, pretty good player. We'll see, though. Yeah. I think they overpaid for him. Ahmed, Guy can't hit. I don't care what he does in spring training. His track
No, he
record,
can't.
he cannot hit. So you're going to have basically another automatic out in the lineup. Yaz and Slater, you know how I feel about them.
Yep.
Wade, average. They got an average team, guys, but if you want to get excited about them, I mean, that's your right as a fan. If they, oh my God, if they win like 5 of their first 6 games in here, Eric, we told you were wrong. We told you were wrong. Yeah, it's a long season, guys.
I know.
Long.
And I get but people, man, if you watch enough spring trainings, you understand that you got to temper expectations, right? You got to. Just because you're killing in spring training doesn't mean it comes over when you start playing games for real. It just doesn't. We just don't know.
You know the frustrating thing about Casey and just young players in general is, like, not just in this chat, but just in general, you hear, well, they haven't done it before. You know, it's kind of like an employer not giving a guy a job because they have no experience. How the hell are you going to get experience if you never get experience? Like, if I'm going to have a player fail, I'd rather have the player fail on minimum wage than at $18 to $20 million. You guys make it sound like every veteran that is signed as a free agent is a success.
Mm-hmm.
I always bring up free agents and the bust that they are after they get paid big money. So you're telling me, as an owner and as a fan, are you excited and happy if your big dollar free agent, need I remind you, Jock Peterson? Jock Peterson had a resume. Jock Peterson had some good stats. Jock Peterson hit in the World Series. He's a clutch hitter. He's a great player.
Remember Jocktober, guys. Remember that?
Proven in October, exactly. And what did he do when he came here? He got his $19 million. He got fat.
Mm-hmm.
He ate himself out of shape, and he had a shit year. But Giants fans will say, "Well, he's proven. He'll be good." No, he wasn't. So I'm sick and tired of, like, people saying, well, Casey Schmidt or Luis Matos, they've never done it. They're not proven. You're right. But some of these veterans that get signed with big money and free agents, they are proven, and they still are busts. So if I'm going to have a bust, I'd rather be paying them 800 G's than $20 million as a fan and as an owner. Doesn't mean I think Chapman's going to be a bust. I don't. I think he's a pretty good player. But we don't know what we have in Casey Schmidt. We don't know what we have in Luis Matos.
Nope.
You don't know, and I don't know. So don't say that, oh, he hasn't been proven. Sports has been happening for 80 years, and I can go down a long list of rookies that are not proven in basketball, baseball, and football that kicked ass. So I'm sick of hearing that. Continue. Go ahead, E.
Nice. Gilbert, I kind of like what you're saying here. It's interesting because I just thought about this as soon as you said that, talking about Melvin. Look, Melvin is head and shoulders way better than Kapler. But here's a question. With the star-studded lineup that he had in San Diego, how come he didn't have success? Right? He had Machado, Tatis, Soto, Bogarts, Snell, Yu Darvish, Hassan Kim. So how come he didn't have success with a loaded roster? I don't know. How did Melvin lose? Okay, that's what I want to know. How did Melvin lose the clubhouse then? Look, I'm not saying that he's a bad or good. I'm just asking the question. Why wasn't he able to, quote unquote, lead? Because when you're a manager, you're a leader, right? How come he couldn't lead his team to better success in San Diego when he had a much more talented roster?
That's a legitimate question. I was not thrilled at him being hired. I think he's an upgrade for sure than Kapler, but that's not saying much. We'll see, though. I mean, he had young teams with the A's. He had a veteran, and he did pretty well. He overachieved with a young, unproven A's team, overachieved. And when he had a bunch of superstar studs that were proven, they didn't win.
And here's a question. Robert says, too many players with egos. Hey, Robert, this is Major League Baseball. Isn't that your job as a manager, is to handle said players with egos? That's, to me, seems like a something that's in your job description. You're dealing with guys who are at the top of their game in baseball. They're going to have egos. And it's your job as a manager to be able to manage those type of players, right?
Well, I tell you,
maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
In any profession, Eric, you name it, a manager or a supervisor is typically going to make more money than the employees.
Mm-hmm.
Non-pro sports.
Non-pro sports.
In pro sports, like if you're a superstar, third baseman, Gold Glover, Silver Bat award winner, and you're making 32 million, and your manager's making 8. Like I'm sorry, like that does matter. Like when you're that considered, the owner is paying you 4 times the manager. There's a little bit of a power position type of thing. Like I said, there's just no job. Name a job other than professional sports that management makes less than the employees.
Gotcha. And I think a lot of it too is, and then I think Dennis Engel, he kind of hits on it too. He goes, not anymore. You cannot get players upset. And yeah, because, well, they could just sit there and not sit on their ass and not do nothing because they got the guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Who's going to hold them accountable? Yeah. Okay.
We've talked about that a lot.
Fair enough. Look, I'm not sitting here. I'm not attacking Melvin at all. I'm just asking the question. The guy had an amazing roster in San Diego. I'm just wondering why, why didn't he have success? Well, I'm asking.
Chemistry is extremely important in baseball. They play a lot of games together. They're on the road a lot together.
Yep,
they play
true.
A long season. They have got to get along. And I think we talked about this after Lee signed. He's getting a lot of money for a guy that hasn't done it here, even at the major league level. So, he's coming in making, twice as much as Yaz, twice as much, 3 times as much as Slater. So that could rub guys the wrong way. I mean, you got to be mentally like strong to be able to overlook that. Some guys are and some guys are not. They were ready to give Yamamoto, and they were ready to give, I forget another, if they do sign Snell, they're going to give them more money than Logan Webb. I mean, how will Logan Webb react to that? Logan Webb is the horse on this team. He's very consistent. So there's a lot going into it. I mean, as far as chemistry goes, I don't know what happened with the Padres. On paper, they were a really good team. They should not have lost the way they did. But they lost a lot of close games, right? Their bullpen wasn't.
Yeah, I think they lost a lot of 1-1 games.
So, bullpen is huge. That's one thing the Giants do have a good bullpen. But it doesn't mean crap if your starters can't get there.
Right.
You need starters to go 6, 7, 8 innings. And other than Webb.
Ideally, right? Ideally.
You do not. Kyle Harrison, I think, is going to be pretty good. But I think he's going to throw a lot of pitches. And I think he's going to be out by the 5th or 6th inning. So when he pitches, that's a 4-inning game by the bullpen. And like I said, they're going to wear it down.
I like what Aaron says. Does winning create chemistry, or does chemistry create winning?
They're hand in hand with each other. But I think the winning has to start.
Winning does amazing things for people.
Winning solves everything. That's one of the oldest things in sports. But I also think that losing and going through adversity also brings you together.
It does.
In ways, not only in sports, but in life. You go through some things together, and it sometimes brings you closer. So that's a good question.
It's exactly what I was saying in the beginning of the show there, Senior. Senior says, I was gearing up for seeing the young guys and developing and taking their lumps.
Yep.
Now we just have an older team and position players. I'm fine with letting the young pitchers play. And you know what? We haven't seen. Has Wisenhunt? Or
no,
Roop?
He's going to be thrown here pretty soon, from what I hear.
And Roop hasn't done nothing. He was a non-roster invitee. He's a young guy. We're not seeing these guys. They're not even. They're not going to even be asked to be in the rotation when they need to lean on him, considering what's going on with Beck. It's weird. maybe they're still got some kind of nagging issues. I don't know.
Dances has a legitimate question. Dances with toes.
Why do you have faith in young position players? Oh, I do have faith in the young pitching.
Yeah.
But the only young pitcher, I mean, when I don't know. We don't honestly. That's why I got a question mark on him on the thumbnail, because I really don't know. I think he pitched. What did he even pitch 50 innings last year? I don't think he even pitched 50 innings last year. And the position, and you don't know if he's a starter because they used him as a damn reliever and a quote unquote opener. So we don't even know. So maybe he has something. Maybe he does.
I think to answer that question, Dances, is we have confidence in the young pitchers and the young hitters. What makes us frustrated is that with the young hitters, they're being blocked by average veterans. They're not being blocked by superstars. They're not even being blocked by really good players. They're being blocked by average players. You know, Slater and Yaz, and I still think Wade is average. So that's what frustrates us. On the pitching side, there's nobody to block them. They're going to pitch, you know? So that's why we're frustrated. We like the pitching and the hitting. The hitters, the Matos, the Ramos, the Casey Schmidts, they're being blocked by I mean, Chapman's the only one that I think is better than Casey Schmidt, but I don't think Yaz is better than Matos right now. I don't. So that's why we're frustrated. That's why you see us and hear us talk about the hitters more, is because they're being blocked. Again, Casey was probably thought he had a really legitimate shot to be the third baseman this year. And now with this trade, he's not. He's going to have to be a utility player. And that's going to go into his confidence. You don't think that has something to do with it? When a team trades for a Chapman, or I'm sorry, signs a Chapman as a free agent, you basically are saying to Casey Schmidt, we don't think you could be our everyday player. And when you don't give confidence to a young player, that's big. Just like the other way around. When you're positive and you have faith in them, that might work wonders as well. That's all we're saying.
Exactly. Scott Fowler says Ramos didn't do shit when he had the chance.
He didn't have a chance.
I'll tell you. Okay. Is his MLB and his minor league career numbers, they're not that great, right? But when he was up at the big club, did he really have a chance? I mean, honestly, when he came up he would come up for a series, I think there's a couple of games where he had 3 at-bats, but then he was right back down. He was never able to get a really good run to see what you had in the guy. I mean, would you say that? Would you agree that that Ramos really hasn't been given enough? But look how many at-bats he's had, Scott. I get it, 179. Look how many at-bats. He's got a total of 79 MLB at-bats. And those were not back-to-back at-bats. He had a few at-bats there, goes back down to AAA. Comes back up for a series, goes back down to AAA. Did he get an honest run to see what he can do?
No. Nope.
Doesn't deserve a chance. Okay. Fair enough, Brian. Fair enough. Says the hell with Ramos. Get rid of him. Okay.
Oh, he probably prefers Yaz in right.
That's fine. Okay, Brian, do you prefer Yaz in right field?
What has Yaz done in the last 3 years to deserve an everyday starter job on this team? I just want to ask that for people that like
his
Yaz.
Defense is okay. I shouldn't say okay. His defense is good.
You need to do more. You need to do more than play defense to be an everyday starter. If you're just good defensively, then you can come in late innings. But if you're going to go 0 for 4 consistently, you don't need to be a starter. You have to hit. Yaz doesn't hit left.
Brian says Matos, Lee, and Conforto.
What about him?
That's who he likes. Matos, Lee, and Conforto.
For the outfield?
Fair enough.
I definitely like Conforto more than Yaz.
I like that better. Yeah.
I definitely don't like Slater. If Slater's on this roster to start the season, that's going to tell me all I need to know about where the Giants are going to be this year. And that's going to tell me that Farhan still has more power than Melvin. I wonder how much power Melvin has for the final roster. How much of a
Hey,
say
Dances, I agree with you. Did you agree with Luciano being called up to the major leagues last year?
Patrick Bailey hasn't done anything in the minors to get called
I
up.
didn't know. Right. Hold on.
Bailey
That's why I'm asking
10.
Dances this. Dances, did you like when Luciano got called up to the big leagues last year? And there's a reason why I'm asking that question.
No, Mike Slater shouldn't even be on the roster.
Exactly. Yeah,
If he's a backup, then that means that you're cutting a young guy.
I'm telling you, Luciano
cut the
may
journeyman,
not.
cut the veterans. Let the young guys be the backups and learn. And
Luciano is not ready. He wasn't ready to be promoted to AA. He wasn't ready to be promoted to AAA, and he wasn't ready to be, of course, called up to the major leagues. The guy, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because of his injuries. I don't know what it is, but the guy, you want to talk about moving off somebody? Brian talks about get rid of Ramos. Luciano exactly doesn't have great numbers, to be honest with you. He doesn't. And I don't know. I don't know what that's going to mean as far as his future.
He's blowing a golden opportunity. They basically handed him the shortstop job.
And
not
come on,
Crawford, and he can't stay healthy.
And the chat. Do you guys should the front office know that Luciano isn't where he should be? And if he's not, why wouldn't they use him as trade bait for the simple fact that he's high, right? Los, you sell high,
buy low,
right? So because what happens is the longer you keep him in your organization, his rankings are going to continue to drop. Now, I understand there's issues with these rankings, but guess what? It seems like that's what clubs use when they trade, right? That's what it seems like. That's what it seems like. I could be wrong, but they may need to move off of him. Trade him now. Hey, Dan's back.
Hey. Trade who now?
Luciano.
Oh, yeah. It might be a little early. The guy's young. I mean, I don't know.
He hasn't developed, though. They pushed him through, and I don't think he was ready.
Yeah, just push him back down a little bit. Matt Williams wasn't ready the first 3 years either.
There's no patience anymore. Not like those. Like that.
I mean, he's got superstar talent. It's hard to give up on guys like that. If you're not going to get a whales haul, a super return, then you're better off just
keeping
him.
That makes sense.
Because he may pan out, he may not, but he's 21, 22 years old?
22, I think.
I have a feeling if Bart and Luciano end up on other teams, they're going to be good players. Maybe not superstars, but they're going to be good baseball players. Yeah. Jesus, look at the kid in Houston right now. God, every time I look in the box score, he's got 2 or 3 hits.
Which one? The shortstop?
The infielder.
The shortstop?
Yeah. Second baseman. The guy who couldn't run the bases here.
Oh, you're talking about Dubon.
Oh,
yeah.
Dubon.
Yeah.
Playing well. You leave the Giants and you play pretty well.
I thought Dubon was gonna. I always liked Dubon. I thought he had really good, lot of talent. I saw the talent there. Yeah, he made bonehead mistakes, but
had to learn.
The raw talent was there.
You got to learn on the job.
You traded him for Michael Papierski. Jeez, what I mean. Some of Farhan's moves, hey, look, guys, we'll say this with Farhan. We've been hard on him. We've made fun of him. We've deservedly so. We've dogged him, but we'll also give him credit. I give him credit for the turnaround. I mean, Soler was a good signing. Hicks was a good signing. If you make him a reliever, I don't think it's going to work out. It might, Might be wrong. He might surprise everybody, and it works.
Whose
as a starter.
decision do you think it was to make Hicks a starter? Like, who really said, let's make him a starter? If you had to really say one guy.
I think it's Farhan.
God, he's making too many decisions.
I mean, I think it's his analytics that thinks he's smarter than the game.
I'm telling you, when you hear his interview and he starts throwing the analytics, and it just drives me crazy when he starts.
Oh, yeah, nobody likes to hear him talk.
Yeah, when he talked about, I told you the other day why he got Chapman. Well, he has a great success hitting at this ballpark. Yeah, all of 12 at bats against the A's per year. He hit 400, so sign him up, man, because he hits well in this ballpark. All of 12 at bats, but with the A's.
I mean,
he had good exit velocity last year.
Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, I don't.
Have we ever put up a poll about Farhan? Like I'm really curious what the chat would say, because I swear I see a lot of people that back him. If we were to put up a poll, like, do you like Farhan as our baseball operations guy? I think it's going to be 50-50. I really do.
I don't think so. Not in this chat. I don't think.
I don't know. We got some new people in here that love this guy. I don't
Maybe.
know. Our longtime people won't vote for him, but they will.
I like the idea of him trying to build the defense up, getting some power, but you got to get pitching. And, maybe they know something that we don't, that these young guys are going to really perform. I don't think it happens overnight. And if you're building enough of a roster that on paper looks like it can compete for the wild card with some of the other teams that are out there, and you go with 4 unknown starters. I mean, granted, Harrison's got to start. He could be excellent. I mean, all indications are that he's going to be good, but is it this year? To me,
nice, Eric Marshall. That's a good one. I like that.
We'll see. We'll see where this thing goes. I mean,
yeah, I see it.
I could see that. Matt's old school.
Well, here's my issue. How many pitchers did Farhan sign last year? Like 10 starting pitchers last year? How many of them stuck around? How many starting pitchers stuck around?
Not many.
So how do we trust the judgment of Farhan in anything that he's doing right now, right? Exactly. We should be able to question that. Look at what he's done.
Should be able to question that, because you have to question many of the things. Like he drafted Casey Schmidt and said he was the next, hey, this guy's the next Matt Chapman. And now you have him, and he's 25 years old. He needs development. He needs more major league at bats. He's not going to keep developing in the minors. He's at the stage where he can develop in the majors. And, I listened to the AJ Hentz. Is it AJ Hinch of the Tigers today? And he was talking about their team and what they're expecting and how they feel really good about a lot of their players. And the interviewer said, well, you got a lot of young hitters. He said, yeah, but those young hitters now have 700 to 800 major league at bats.
Mm-hmm.
And see, the Giants have nobody near that. Luis Matos has 250 at bats. That's the most at bat. I don't know how many Casey got last year, maybe somewhere around there. But major league guys, it takes them usually 500 at bats in the major leagues to really start figuring out and making adjustments. When are you going to get that for these guys? Are you just going to keep replenishing free agents every 1 to 2 years, and then you never develop your farm?
Correct.
Because this is not sustainable. You cannot keep, regurgitating free agents and not develop your own guys. If you're going to put Slater over Matos, that's ludicrous. Even Yaz.
Even Yaz.
A great point, Dan. He doesn't have a long-term plan. He has a short-term plan all the time. He just gets somebody for 1 or 2 years and then tries to flip it around. Like he gets off on being able to like replace somebody with somebody just as good for cheaper. Like,
What's up, Sean?
like he's got a stock traders.
Giovanni says, when am I going to give Farhan credit? I've already given him credit. I just said it. If you were listening, I said I give him credit for signing Soler, signing Hicks. I think the Chapman signing is the terms are good. I mean, I'll say this. I think Matt Chapman is probably, well, not probably, he is better than Casey Schmidt at this point. Obviously he's a better defender. Casey's really good, but Chapman's supreme. Chapman doesn't hit that great, but he's still better than Casey at this point. So
Right
I give
now.
him right now. I give him credit for the signing that it's no longer than a 3-year deal, that it hopefully is only a 1-year deal. Because why do I say I hope it's only a 1-year deal? Because I hope Chapman has a good year. Because if he doesn't, guys, the Giants are going nowhere, and now you've ruined 25 season because he's coming back, and you've blocked Casey Schmidt even further. So you better hope Chapman has a good year, because if he pulls a Conforto, remember my tweet last week or 2 weeks ago, the Giants will sign Chapman, but he won't opt out. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't have a great year. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I hope he does. But you know what? If that's all Farhan does, then I take the credit of signing him back, because you need starting pitching more than you need Chapman.
Yep.
See,
And
Dan,
it's
the thing is,
Chapman-
people don't want you to give Farhan credit. They want you to just kiss the ring.
What ring?
Yeah.
Okay,
you know what I mean, though. You know what
I'm
I
not
mean.
giving him any credit now. I'm going to give him credit
neither.
when his team makes the playoffs.
Yes.
Yeah, when he
I'll
makes
give him credit when his team makes the playoffs. I'm not going to give him credit on freaking March 4th.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Right.
Are you out of your mind based upon the last?
I know, man. I don't
You're
get it
out of
either.
your mind. I'm not going to give him any credit right now. Yeah, he signed a few players. Congratulations. We'll see how this team plays together, how they gel. He doesn't have any pitching. In baseball, your number 3 hitter is supposed to be your best hitter. You know, all the projections I see on who's hitting third for the San Francisco Giants in 2024, Lamont Wade. That's your number 3 hitter right now on all the lineups I've seen. I've seen Lee, Estrada, and Wade. Man, you're not winning anything with Lamont Wade as your number 3 hitter. I'm sorry. So hell no, I'm not giving Farhan any credit right now. You quote me on that. Let's see them win.
What's up, Charles?
Guys are already anointing him executive of the year. Give me a break. Baseball starts and ends with pitching. Starts and ends with pitching.
Isn't that how he won 3 World Series?
You guys that are
Three.
giving Farhan an
And
award
5.
already, and
Pitching.
you're going to look at this rotation right now as it stands on March 4th. You know, man, you're dead wrong. You're dead wrong. This team's is going to lose a lot of 7-4 games early in the season.
Yeah,
Mark my word.
That's what I'm saying too. That's what I said before you got on. They're going
They'll
to
score a few runs, but it's going to be 9-5, 8-4.
Yeah, they're going to win some games on some 3-run homers by Soler, maybe some by Chapman, but they're going to lose a lot of those games when you're down and you need a big run, and those guys strike out, because they do strike out a lot. Soler,
they're going to win.
Chapman.
Yeah, they're going to win 60 to 65% of their games web pitches. Kyle Harrison, 50-50. Right now, they're going to win 30% of their games with their 3-4-5 starter. So do the math and do all those statistics. 60 to 65% when Webb pitches, 50-50 when Harrison pitches, because Harrison's not going to go deep into games. It's going to be
all right. So let's say Webb pitches 32 starts, and they win. What'd you say? 65%
of those wins, or 65% of his starts will be wins.
Okay, that's 20, basically 21 wins by the Giants team.
Okay,
Not necessarily all Webb, maybe 16, 17 by Webb.
50% of Kyle's starts.
Okay, that's 16. 21 plus 16. If he makes it that many starts.
Yeah. So now let's add up the 3, 4, 5 pitchers as they are now. Let's give them 32 starts each, which will be 96. And let's divide 96 by 35%.
Call it 35%. Yeah.
And let's add that up. That's their win total. That's what I calculate.
That's 33. What was it was 21.
33
plus,
and 18.
Well, no, what was it? What was the hair? 21, 16, and 33?
Yeah.
33?
Yeah.
That's 70. And then you got some bullpen, different starters that might, so you're probably looking at about 75 to 82 wins right in there.
That's let's see if I get this right. That's the
There you go.
That's the
There you go.
That's the flex funding.
You're trying to get your arm off. It looked like your arm was going to come off.
That's the flex funding mortgage loan officers
There you go.
calculations based on the statistics. The Giants will win about 72 to 75 win. Hey, you do it for yours and see if you get it.
I did. It's my shoulders hurting.
I love how you.
It just there we go.
Yeah, it's opposite. Yeah. Oh man, look at Giovanni. Giants will make wild card. See, that's the type of attitude I don't like. Shouldn't you be saying?
No, let him say it. Let him say it. Let
him put money on it.
If that's what if you want to settle for wild card.
But over under for Giants is now 82.5, Bub Rad. It was 81.5 until Chapman signed. The odds makers bumped it up one game.
One game.
Bet the under on the Giants and the over on the Nationals.
Yeah. Yeah. I take the over. I take the over on the D-backs too. And maybe
only at 83, right?
Maybe the Orioles are like 89.
I love the Orioles roster this year.
I'll tell you somebody had a really low one. Who was in the 50s? Was it the Nationals?
No, the Nationals
67.
are like at 60, 66 or something.
Was it that?
Yeah. Yeah. I love the Nationals over. They got a nice young team.
The A's are like 57 or something.
Hey, CJ Abrams is going to be a superstar this year.
CJ's good.
Hey, where's Lou Marston? I want to know, did season tickets, did they take a jump?
Why do I despise Farhan so much? He's doing his best. I don't like the fact that he tells one thing and then says another. I don't like the idea that he doesn't seem to have a concrete plan. I don't like the idea of constant shuffling the back end of the 40 roster with a bunch of no names that get added to the roster and then they're gone within 2 weeks. I don't like the fact that he hired Kapler and let him stay for 4 years when Kapler was a disaster.
We don't like his platooning emphasis.
Don't like his platooning, his overuse of analytics, his over-reliance on analytics.
Yep.
Hopefully he's learned. Because hopefully he lets Bob Melvin actually manage the club the way he sees fit. Because last year, I'll guarantee you that Farhan was making the lineup and Farhan was making the changes in situations. If so-and-so comes up, you're to pull this guy and put him in prior to the game.
We need to see more of Melvin speaking on behalf of the team and less of Farhan. Why does he need to be out in front, like talking about this, talking about that? I mean, when he needs to talk about personnel decisions, fine. But when he's out there talking about what the starting lineup is going to be in the outfield, like that's not your position to say that. Let the manager decide who's going to be based on what he sees in 5 to 6 weeks of spring training. That's another reason I'm not crazy about him. He's just taken a team and an organization that a lot of us love, and has made it kind of a laughingstock based upon a lot of his decisions. I mean, we've talked about this a lot. Players and agents talk a lot. San Francisco is not a destination that people want to come to. And if you're going to say, well, Matt Chapman came here, like, that's another thing about Matt Chapman. Like, how many teams were knocking down the door trying to get him? Not many.
Not many, no.
He's that good. I mean, you got to ask yourself that. If he's that good, I know Toronto made him an offer, but there's, 32 teams? How many teams, like, were going after Matt Chapman? Like, we're 2 weeks into spring training, and he finally signs with the Giants. That's a red flag, guys. It's a red flag. Other general managers don't obviously like Matt Chapman that much.
Yeah.
Just saying. We'll see.
Yeah, because if he was that much of a hot commodity, how come he waited until what?
I'm telling you. And it's the same with Snell.
Yeah.
Teams are really looking at Snell saying, I know you won the Cy Young, but you're so
walk too
up
many
and
guys.
down. We're going to really give you a lot of money. You're going to be go 8-11 for us with a 4.5 ERA and barely get out of the fifth inning. That's what we're giving you $30 million for.
Right.
General managers are starting to get a little bit more hip, and they're only giving superstars these 6, 7, 8-year deals. If you're an average player or the back of your card is up and down, you're inconsistent, you're not getting that money, and you're definitely not getting those years. And I applaud that. I'm a huge advocate of that. Owners and general managers getting a little bit more strict with that. Give your money out to superstars.
How about this is I'm not gonna even bring it up.
What a mess.
What a mess.
Yeah. Somebody said, hey, what do you guys think of the idea of trading? I threw this out to Eric earlier tonight when we were talking. The Cubs look like they're going to need a third baseman. What do you think of J.D. Davis going to the Cubs along with Joey Bart? Because, the Giants have to give up, and the numbers match almost identical on the trade value for Alexander Canario, the guy that they traded away for Chris Bryant. That guy's supposed to be a power hitting guy that could, I say stack your outfield up with young guys that can hit, and then let the best guys play, and then use the other guys as trade bait.
I would like a starting pitcher back in return, but I don't know if the Cubs.
I don't think the Cubs don't have one. Cubs don't really have one that you could get unless you got Imanaga, but they're not going to give up Imanaga.
Don't remind me of him,
dude.
He's going to be on my team, 14th round. Watch.
He's got a lot of strikeouts in the spring.
I'm going to have a lot of Asians on my team. I'm going to have Imanaga. I'm going to have Yamamoto. I'm going to have Lee. Nobody in my.
Why don't you join the NorCal one, Los?
Oh, it's too hard to balance two teams. One team is hard enough.
2 teams.
Oh my God, it's football. I can do multiple teams because it's once a week. Baseball, ridiculous.
Guys, I didn't get a good night's sleep last night, so it's almost 11:30 for me here. Next week we start. It'll be
same time.
We'll be almost 2 hours in, and it'll be 10:30. We change. Or actually, we don't change. We get it right. You guys. Change
Eric,
over there.
You want to carry it for a few more minutes?
Sure.
You guys can go as long as you want, man.
Yeah, we can go.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take the night out, try and get some sleep here. And I was up till 5 last night. I had a nap.
That's crazy.
It was like, I could not sleep, and then I had to get up at 7 this morning, and I had to be somewhere before 8. So 2 hours sleep. Anyway, guys, have a great night. And we'll be back tomorrow night.
Yep, sounds good. Get some rest, man.
All right, You guys take it away, man. Have a great one.
Take it easy.
All right.
Now he's not going to go to sleep. He's going to have us on, and he'll make.
I'll get a message from him at 1:00 in the morning.
Yeah, he's gonna put a comment in about 15 or 20 minutes and blast him. Like, why are you watching us, man? Go to sleep, dude.
Oh man.
No, but I mean, for the people that have been with us for a year, they know our stance.
Yeah,
we've
they
been
do.
very consistent. We don't want to dislike Farhan, but we love the Giants. We love the organization. So anybody
Yes.
that takes the organization in a different path that we don't agree with, how are we going to like that? I
Right.
mean, any of you out there, if something you care and love are doing the wrong things, you're not going to get upset and then make a comment about it. Like, the Giants were a 3-time World Series champions a decade ago. I mean, and they had the opportunity to transition from those great players to, people wanted to come to San Francisco at that time. What happened? Our ownership got rid of Brian Sabian and Bruce Bochy. They got rid of people that won here. So Dan mentioned all the things that we don't like about Farhan. Imagine that you have a boss that treats you great, gives you raises every time you deserve one, and then ownership fires your boss and they bring in some jerk that treats you like a jerk every day at your job. Would you like him or her? Probably not. Well, that's what we have with Farhan. Other than 21 and that fluke year, he hasn't done the job. Plain and simple. We hold people accountable here. We're not the typical Bay Area soft media, even though we're not in the media. We have our narrative and we have our channel. But we are not the typical soft Bay Area media that does not hold people accountable. I hold Kyle Shanahan accountable. We hold Farhan accountable. We hold people that don't do their jobs at the right time accountable. And we just call it as it is. We're like parents. When the kids act up, we whoop that ass. And when they do good, we give them a pat on the back. But we're sure as heck not one of these parents that's our kid comes home with an F and say, "Oh, you'll do better next time." That don't play here. It doesn't play here. Just the way
Thanks,
it is.
Joe. I got a nice pull out there. I put will Dan get in the chat before 10:45?
Robert Brown, we are like the East Coast media. We're passionate.
Yeah, we are.
We
You know what?
love-
It's expectations. You know, look, this is just me, and I think Lowe's I can speak for Lowe's here too. Is our expectations are high. We expect greatness. I mean, it might be a high bar, but that's where we are. But let's also keep it real here. Is, Farhan hasn't exactly been ideal in his position as president of baseball operations. Has he made some good deals? Sure, but he's also made a lot of bad ones.
What was his first decision? What was his first decision when he got the job? What did he do?
The first one was horrible. The Connor Joe and Michael Reed. But
and then who did he hire as his manager?
Yeah, exactly. You started off wrong from the get-go of who's going to manage your team. 100%. 100%. Okay, the Rodon signing, I like that. But him not trading him, it kind of negates each other.
Yep. Could have got a lot for him. When his stock was high.
Kevin Gausman. I keep going back to Kevin Gausman. The guy is still dealing he's always into consideration for Cy Young ever since he's left. And you missed out on him for a pretty decent contract. Didn't even offer him a contract. And then you paid $19 million to Jock to get fat. That was a mistake, JD Davis was a good trade. That was a good trade. Robbie Ray, it may be a good trade, but again, it's the same thing where he's trading for or signing an injured player. I mean, so yeah, we'll acknowledge when he does something good, but that's few and far between.
For everybody in the chat that's a 49er fan, you know who Trent Baalke is. He was the former general manager of the Niners. And what did he get ripped for? He got ripped for drafting and signing players that were hurt and always consistently hurt. So we have a general manager, president of operations, whatever you want to have his title on. He has the same reputation. He tries to buy cheap and guys that are having off years or injured, and he's hoping and praying that they rehabilitate and become good again. And that's a big risk to take. That's not the way you build a team. He was also brought in to help our farm system. His drafts in 6-7 years have been average at best, maybe below average.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's drafted an all-star yet. And I
Nope.
know it's hard. I know
Yeah, it
it's
is.
hard to pick talent, but everywhere you look around the big leagues, everywhere you look, there's young superstar talents on a lot of teams. And like, where's our Julio Rodriguez? Where's our Adley Reichman? Where's our Gunnar Henderson? You know,
Oh my God, look what the Orioles have done.
where's our Ronald Acuna?
Rushman,
You know,
Henderson,
where is ours? Ours
Holiday.
is Marco Luciano with a bad back. You know, these are things you have to take into consideration. We have a long list of why we're hard on Farhan. A long list. When you run out guys that are successful, you better sure as hell replace them with people that are successful. And he did not. We always joke about who the real general manager of this team is, Pete Paguglia. Never saw him for the first time at the MLB meetings and is like, oh my God, I didn't think anybody was worse than Farhan talking. When you want Farhan to go back on stage and talk, like, you know, you're not that good. Like, those two guys need to go take a speech class or something. They're both horrible.
Yeah, they're horrible. Now, one thing, we don't know exactly what Pete does. Maybe he's doing behind the scenes stuff. Maybe if I'm not mistaken, I think he was behind the whole Jung-Hoo Lee. So, I mean, at least he can evaluate talent, right?
Yeah. And what's frustrating is, you know, the Giants have a stadium that's free and clear. So they have money.
Right.
They're not broke. They have
Come
money.
on.
They have money.
Exactly.
One of the richest owners in baseball. And you guys are going to say, well, they have the 6th highest payroll. Well, that doesn't mean anything. Just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean that. There are a lot of people out in this world that have a lot of money and they spend poorly. And that's what the Giants do. Like, if we just talked about Jock Peterson, we talked about Stripling, we talked about DeScalfini, we talked about Wood. These are all guys that got between $12 and $20 million a year. They're all bad players.
Mm-hmm.
This is under Farhan's watch. So we can go down the list. You know, this is not, we don't want to dislike Farhan. We want to like our person in charge of the Giants. But when he continues to fail on so many different levels, how are you supposed to, like, be honest and come on here and say, man, can't wait for the season to start. Look at these signings. He missed out on Yamamoto. He missed out on Ohtani. He didn't get any starting pitcher in here when there was an absolute desperate need for starting pitching. It wasn't like this was like some last minute, oh, 2 guys got injured and they need to have it. No, they've needed starting pitching since last year ended. As soon as they got rid of DeScalfani, Wood, and Strickland, you got rid of 3 starters. Now, they were not good starters. You have to replace them. and you need more than Kyle Harrison. I mean, I hope Mason Black will be a stud, but if he's going to be one of your starters, wow, that's a huge roll of the dice.
And think about this. Could you imagine if you had signed Kevin Gausman and then you had Webb and Gausman as your 1A and 1B? Then when you bring up Harrison, he doesn't have the weight on him. Because right now he's probably feeling a little bit of weight because the way the rotation's looking right now.
Harrison,
there's going to be a lot of, he's going to feel that pressure. But if you had Gausman and Webb at the front of the rotation, and then you have Harrison as your number 3, you're setting up your guys for success. And then maybe, and then maybe you start attracting the bigger free agents because you know what? They see the Giants are wanting to win. I really think that has a lot to do with it. It's the desire to, don't get me wrong, money is important, but that desire to win, you want to go out there, you want to go win the World Series. And if players don't see that, they may say, you know what, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Yeah, it'd be nice if Harrison was a number 4 and number 5 starter on this team. That way he can match up against other teams, number 4 and number 5. But now you have it number 2. So if you go play the Dodgers, Yamamoto's going to probably be their number 1 going up against Webb. Oh. Now number 2, you got to match up against Glass now. Kyle Harrison is number 4 and number 5. That's a great point. He's for a young guy, he has a lot of pressure to be a number 2 guy. And maybe down the road he will be, but that's a lot of pressure to put on a young kid. He should be a 4 or 5. But because Farhan hasn't addressed pitching yet, And if he does now late, how many times have we seen it when guys come into camp late and they get hurt?
Good point.
I swear if Chapman gets hurt and pulls a hamstring because they couldn't sign him 2 weeks ago when camp started, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, maybe Boris was asking, maybe it's not Farhan's fault. Maybe at that time Boris was saying, no, we're not accepting anything less than 6 years. So I'm not going to go ahead and crucify him for that. But it's frustrating that it took him this long to sign Chapman, and he's our everyday third baseman now. And if they do sign Snell or Montgomery, they're going to be behind the sticks, and they're either going to not be effective or they're going to get hurt because they came in late to camp. So,
yep. And here's another thing. It's the same thing with these starting pitchers. None of them are built up. Snell and Montgomery, whatever team they go on, you're going to have to be careful with them. Because if you rush them, they could easily go down with an injury if they're not ready to go out there. Maybe they start the season only going 4 or 5 innings because they're not getting the reps at spring training to build up their arm.
I feel real bad for Logan Webb. I really feel he's a good Giant.
Yeah, he is.
Remember, we're always kidding. Towards the end of last year, he went on that rant, and he was speaking. He was speaking. I mean, it's the end of a long year. And he said, Eric could bring it up maybe on the next show, to remind you, he said in one of his last starts in the clubhouse, man, things got to change around here. They just have to change. The dynamics, the clubhouse, everything. And
I think that's when he lost one of those 1-run games, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he didn't go into specifics, but like if you had gotten him off camera and he went on a rant, he would have probably said a lot of things. This team didn't get enough hitters. This team doesn't have another, legitimate starter to help me out. I'm always having to save the bullpen because the other guys can't do it. And I'm one of the best pitchers in baseball, but I'm probably the 50th or 60th highest paid starting pitcher in baseball. Like there's a lot of things he's probably very frustrated about. He didn't have to sign the contract that he did. He has a very, very team-friendly contract. We're lucky to have him, but I wish he had help. I really wish Farhan would give him help because he deserves it. Reminds me of Matt Cain a lot. But Cain had Lincecum and had Bumgarner and had Vogelsong.
Vogelsong, and
that's
exactly.
a deep rotation. Like, damn, we're only going to win when I throw. We're not going to win until 5 days from now again. That's a lot of pressure on Webb.
It is.
Yeah, he deserves better.
No doubt about it. Well, and the thing is, if they're to sign Snell, they're going to have to go over the luxury tax. Do you see the Giants doing that? I say do it because they're 5th richest as Ben Bamboo, 5th highest revenue in the major leagues, right?
Yeah, why not?
Do it. Who cares, right? But the problem is knowing Farhan, they may not want to do that. They may not want to go over the CBT.
I'm not sure how baseball works as far as football, that if they were to dump Slater and Yaz,
then you might be okay.
Then that's another reason to get rid of those guys. Is Matos could do the same job, if not better than Yaz, for 1/8 of the price that he does. That's smart baseball. When you can get the same production from a guy, and that's why we were all over Casey Schmidt. Like we felt like if he was given a chance, like if you look at his stats towards the end of last year, he was starting to put it together again, hitting. Again, you got to give young guys a lot of at bats. They have to see pitchers the second time, the third time. They got to know tendencies. They got to see how pitchers are pitching them. Oh, you're throwing me hard inside and breaking balls away. Again, I keep referring to Matt Williams. Matt Williams didn't figure it out for 2 years. The guy swung in the dirt and on pitches, curveballs in the dirt forever. When he finally figured it out, he was a hell of a player. And I think Casey would have eventually been a pretty good player. But they want to try to win now, and they want the proven commodity. So you're going to pay $18 million for a guy that he better produce. I think Chapman should be their third hitter. I mean, I think Chapman's a better hitter than Wade, but I don't know. Yeah, I can't.
Here's the deal. I'm pretty sure I kind of will guess where people will go on this. Would you be willing to give up Slaz? Would you give the Slaz the Slater and Yaz.
That's a good one. That's for both
good.
of them. Slaz.
Yeah, Slaz. I didn't even mean to do that. It just came out. How about that? Would you get rid of Slaz to pick up Snell? Hell yeah.
Oh my God.
In a heartbeat.
That's
In a heartbeat. Get rid of Slaz. No more Slaz.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, isn't it? I didn't even mean to say that. It just came out that way. How about that?
Slaz.
Slaz.
Let's accumulate as much talent as we can on the team. How about that? How about that as a novel concept?
Could you imagine? You know how much better I would feel is if they came out and said, I almost said it again. If they had got rid of Slater and Yaz, they're going to put Matos in the outfield. And then when we sign Snell, oh my God, I would come in here and say, Farhan did good. I would say that. I would say he did good as far as building the team, but he still has to prove it to get the team into the playoff, right? But I would say at that point, if you got rid of Yaz and Slater and you signed Snell, he's doing his part as a president of baseball operations. I would give him that.
You know what?
Because you're getting rid of two guys that are they part of the future, guys? Really? Come on.
They're not part of the future. Yeah.
Ahmed. You know, that's the thing. Why? Why go with Ahmed?
Yeah, you know, if Ahmed makes the team and Tyler Fitzgerald is sent down, I'm going to be upset at that because I think Tyler Fitzgerald could be one heck of a utility guy. He could play outfield. He could play shortstop. He's athletic. He's young. He's fast. I think he can hit pretty well. Again, this is going to be another block of another young guy for a journeyman free agent, you know, middle of the road guy that has no future with the team. Like Dan made a great point before he checked out. I mean, Farhan doesn't have a long-term plan. It's a wonder, you know, he doesn't buy a car and keep it for 10 years until the wheels falls off. He buys a car, turns around and sells it the next year. And then he sells another one in 18 months. He's always got, you know, different mediocre average cars coming in. He just never buys one and just takes care of it long-term. He's just a short-term guy. That's why his contracts are short, because guys don't want to come here long-term. And he does not develop the young guys. And you develop young guys by letting them play. And they're blocked again. So here we are, same place we were last year, more or less.
You know what? You know it'd be pretty for next year. You know it'd be pretty damn dominant. Webb, Snell, and Ray, and then Harrison, or Harrison and Ray, however you want to do it. Oh my gosh. Those are studs. Those are four studs at the top of the rotation.
2 years.
Yeah. It's actually 3. I think it's 2 years after this one, if he doesn't opt out after this year.
You know what's going to happen is if the Giants are out of contention by the trading deadline again, you know, again, you know how I am. I don't like people that don't learn from their mistakes. Farhan made big mistakes last year, not trading proven talent last year at the deadline to get some young prospects and build this team even more. See, being a GM or whatever his position isn't just about accumulating talent. It's about getting value for talent by trading it away. And so far, he has not done that. Again, the Giants are never sellers. They're always buyers. They're always buying in. Buying in for what? You're not winning a World Series with this roster. You're not even going to make the playoffs with this roster. You know, it's going to be a long shot. So if you have Chapman, if you have a healthy now Cobb, if you have a healthy J.D. Davis still on the roster, Wilmer Flores, you have some veterans that some other teams that are trying to actually realistically win a World Series, they want. And they would give up some young prospects for it. But Farhan won't do that. He's going to hold on to them. I guarantee you he's going to hold on to these guys.
Yep. But
and he's not going to learn from past mistakes. And you wonder why we get pissed at him.
Exactly.
Prove us wrong and shut us up.
Prove us wrong. That's what I want this whole time. I want to be able to come on the show and say, guess what? Farhan proved me wrong. I suck. I want to be able to say that.
Yeah, we have no problem admitting.
No problem whatsoever.
You know, to come on here and make opinions is not easy because people in the chat will just sit back and wait for you wrong and then call you out.
Oh, absolutely.
You guys make opinions. All of you make opinions now. It's easy to cash in on a bet after you know who won. It's harder to try to predict things.
God, you know what? And I tell you what, you know what's so special about the sport, Los, is everyone has opinion. Everybody has an idea of how to make the team better. And I love it. I love the conversation. Look, I get animated. I get pretty emotional with it. Look, I'm not attacking people, but it's just, I could see a path forward. This is just in my mind. I could see where this should go. And what I think doesn't mean that I'm right. Doesn't mean I'm wrong. Same thing with you all in the chat. You know, you guys could think, you could put out there what you think is right. It may be right, it may be wrong, but it's great. It's fun to be able to go back and forth, because I could see, you know, hey, yeah, I could see that point. And then maybe someone in the chat can maybe see my point. It's about just sharing ideas, and I love that. But one thing I will not waver on is my expectations. I will never drop my expectations. And if I'm hard, so be it. Call me a hard grader. But that's just how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, the last few weeks I've gotten into it with quite a bit of 49er fans that
I bet
are completely happy about the team coming up short again. And I get into it with them a lot because I'm like, hey, I don't wear NFC West shirts. I don't wear NFC champion shirts. Giants, I'm not going to wear National League West shirts. The only shirt I'm going to wear is just a basic generic Giants 49er shirt, or Super Bowl champions or World Series champions. I don't wear second place, third place shirts. I don't. I don't. Because, you know, as long as I follow the Warriors, the Giants, and the 49ers, they have won me 13 championships. 13 parades, 13 titles, whatever you want to call it. So there's a high standard. You know, the Giants are one of the iconic organizations in sports, and they're kind of like being looked at almost equal to the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Oakland A's. And you wonder why we're pissed off. Like, this team has resources. This team has one of the most beautiful stadiums in America. I know the city is kind of going through some things, but, you know, it still has that name, San Francisco. This team should not be struggling year after year after year because of poor decisions by ownership. And don't think we have forgotten about owners. We blast the owners too.
Oh, absolutely.
This is not just a beat on Farhan show. We don't approve of the ownership and how they've, you know, seemingly are more interested in making money and dealing with their real estate projects and investment than actually being good baseball men and actually putting a winning product. That's what we hold them to a standard for. So hell yeah, we're going to be hard on them. So,
you know, hey, it's funny because we started off the show on Friday. We were going to talk about the whole, and it kind of got lost in everything going on with Chapman. But we were talking about what happened with Brandon Crawford. We had to change the show right in the middle. Literally, 30 minutes in, we had to switch it over because Chapman had signed. Actually, I think it was about an hour. But do you notice it's funny because they diverted that? That was quick because they news came out about Crawford, and then boom, that night they signed Chapman. I mean, I'm not saying there's any kind of connection or anything, but it's unique.
Well, speaking of pivoting, and Dan's not here, so you know me and you like talking wrestling. I need to quickly shout out one of my favorite wrestlers all time, retired, the great Sting. Sting finally just called it quits.
He finally hanging up the boots.
Finally hanging it up. So what a phenomenal career.
Wow.
Stinger had all the way back to WCW when he had the blonde hair, and from Vero Beach, California. This is Sting. That is one of the best wrestlers of all time. When you're good on the mic, when you're good at actually wrestling. I mean, he wrestled Flair for 45 and 60 minutes back in the day. Yeah, now wrestlers don't wrestle for more than 20 minutes. But Sting is an iconic, definitely top 10 wrestler of all time. So kudos to the Stinger on his absolutely phenomenal.
Okay, here we go. What finishing move? Did you like the Stinger? Did you like the reverse DDT, right? Isn't that what it was?
He had the scorpions like
the Stinger, was it?
Yeah.
Wasn't it called this? Yeah.
Yeah, he would throw the guy into the turnbuckle, land on him, fall him over, and then kind of reverse.
The finger four, right? Kind of.
No, it wasn't a finger four. It was a scorpion. We call it the scorpion deathlock.
Yeah, that's what it was. And then he pulled on the leg, right? But didn't he
Yeah.
have like a DDT but reversed or something like that?
Oh, that's not his finishing move, but that's one of the moves that he does. That was
Yeah, that's nasty. They
He's
reverse the
put the guy in
DDT.
his head and just drop him on his head.
Yeah,
I try to
yeah.
watch that in slow motion. Like, how do the wrestlers protect themselves when they get hit?
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's got to be some type of indication of when they're going to fall, and they just fall with it. Oh, Sting was awesome, though. Okay, did you? We talked about this before, but we'll get into it. Did you like the Hollywood type makeup, or did you like the Crow makeup?
I didn't like the Crow makeup.
Didn't care for it, where he didn't say. Oh, I think because he never talked. Maybe that's why.
He was. I like when Sting talked. So
Yeah.
I liked him when he first came out, when he had the blonde hair and he wore the long
crew cut,
three-quarter robes. Hey, little known fact: him and the Ultimate Warrior used to be tag team partners when they first got in the business.
No kidding.
Yeah, when they were both young. I can't remember what their name was.
No kidding.
But look it up. Sting and the Ultimate Warrior were tag team partners when they first got in the business, and they were both no makeup. They were just both ripped. God, I can't remember.
He said Blade Runners. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that sounds right.
There you go, Jim. Coming through. Appreciate it.
Good, Jim knows his wrestling. Yeah. So, the Stinger, Flair, those are great days in WCW.
Did you ever hear that story? Robert Brown talks about he's a real wrestler. Okay, you're a wrestler. We're talking wrestling. There's a difference between wrestling and wrestling. I like the story about Kurt Angle when he challenged Brock Lesnar.
Oh,
to a legitimate wrestling, and he beat him. He beat Lesnar.
Yeah, Kurt Angle could wrestle.
Kurt Angle could wrestle, even with a broken neck.
Yeah, Howard, I did hear about Virgil passing. Yeah, I did hear.
Yeah, Virgil.
He was only like 61. Man, there's a lot of wrestlers that passed very early ages. Obviously using
it's a hard life. It's a hard life.
Yeah, hard life. What they used to do and the travel that they did, like some of these documentaries and they didn't make a lot of money, until the 90s when wrestling really blew up. They were not making no money in the 80s, and they were on the road 310, 315 days out of the year. And I know it's scripted, but falling on your back and getting hit the way you do, and it's physical. Those guys.
Did you ever see that photo of one of the first Royal Rumbles, and the damn ring was like collapsing because there was so much weight in there? It was like, it was the who's who in it. It had Hogan, Andre the Giant, Hillbilly Jim. They had all those guys in there. Gosh, I gotta have to find that. God, there was nothing better than the 80s, 90s, and the early 2000s, man.
Do you ever have a night, on the weekend, sometimes we don't have a show, and then if you don't have a MHS show, do you just ever have a night where you just kind of like YouTube just a bunch of old wrestling matches?
Yes. You know what I did not that long ago? I was watching Goldberg's first match all the way up to when he became, because he was like a phenomenon in WCW. It's like this guy came out of nowhere, and I was like, when I saw him first do the spear, and then I was like, oh my God, what is this?
That hurt.
What is this?
That hurt.
The best Goldberg match that I ever watched. This is just me. I can't remember who he was tag team with, but he was going against Big Papa Pump.
Oh, Scott Steiner.
Yep, Scott Steiner. And I can't remember who was Scott Steiner's tag team partner. I can't remember.
His brother, the Steiner brothers.
Yeah, it wasn't the Steiner brother. It was someone else, though. But you know how Big Papa Pump, he had biceps on top of biceps, right? And he'd always, well, he'd always flex, right?
He had the fishnet over his head.
Well, it was funny. So Goldberg was fighting his partner. He picked up Scott Steiner's partner, and he picked him up over his head and pressed him. He pressed him over his head, then threw him down, and he looks over at Scott Steiner, and you could see him and you could hear it in the mic. What do you think about that, boy? I was like, what? What was that? I've never seen that. It was unbelievable.
WCW had to do something to offset Austin.
They did.
So Goldberg was their version of Austin. Mm-hmm. Bald head, goatee, wears black. A little bit different style of a wrestler. He's more of a power guy. he wasn't as good on the mic as Austin was. I mean, very few guys were. Flair and Dusty Rhodes was.
Oh, they had epic fights, man.
You want to see a physical
Gilbert? I remember Gilbert. Remember WWE?
Yeah,
They made
Gilbert.
fun of him and called it Gilbert. Yeah, I remember that.
You want to go see a physical match? Go watch Ric Flair versus Hands of Stone, Ronnie Garvin in a cage. Ooh,
Really?
Ooh.
Wow.
45 minutes.
Ooh.
Yeah, they really went at it, and God, yeah, the NWA, WCW used to come to San Francisco at the Civic Auditorium near
the
City
IRS
Hall.
guy.
IRS.
That was his name, wasn't it? IRS?
No, that was Mike Rotundo was his name.
Yeah, Mike Rotundo.
But his character was Irwin R. Shyster.
Oh, that's what it was. Oh, that's what. Okay, gotcha.
There you go.
I love it.
Jim, you know your stuff.
Jim is on it.
Irwin R.
PMG,
Shyster.
there you go. Woo! There you go.
Yeah.
Van Vader.
There's a lot of wrestling fans out there.
Man.
Have you been to a live event ever, Eric?
I did once. I went to a Raw.
Oh, you went to a Monday Night Raw?
Saw The Rock and Stone Cold.
Wasn't that place loud when they came out?
Oh man, it was Arco Arena. It was loud.
I was in Sacramento. Nice.
It was during that time when The Rock would sit down in the middle of a ring with the guitar and he'd start singing songs, and then Stone Cold came out and just was blasting them. Abdullah the Butcher.
Yeah.
The Rockers. Oh, Marty Giannetti, and who else? Who was
Shawn
the other
Michael.
guy?
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michael. That's right. Those are the Rockers.
And Shawn Michaels took off on his career, and Marty Jannetty really didn't amount to much.
Wasn't a fan with the little bands around the elbows and the tassels. That pass.
No.
Heartbreak Kid.
I mean, as a wrestler, you could be a great wrestler, but if you didn't have a good character or you were not good on the mic like you could get away with just being a good wrestler in the 80s, but when the 90s came and the Attitude Era came, you had to be good on the mic. There were just some guys that were very good wrestlers, but they couldn't put two sentences together. That was just not their strength. And the ones that could talk are the ones that were the showcase guys. The Austins, the Rocks, the Flairs. I mean, the Undertaker didn't talk too much.
No, he never talked at all. Same thing with Kane.
In my opinion, there's no better entrance in wrestling history.
With that big gong.
When he comes out, man, when that music hits.
The dark lights
and the lights come off. Oh,
yeah.
Like that's awesome.
Yeah, Bret Hart, great wrestler, but was not very good on the mic.
Perfect example. Yeah, Bret Hart could wrestle with the best of them.
Oh, I remember that one. That's when
Russell.
Macho Man was the heel and Steamboat. Remember, he took a bell to the throat.
That was WrestleMania 3. He on the undercard of Hogan versus Andre.
Yep.
That was the best match of the day.
Was that the one? Was that the bell to the throat, or was that the one where he got DDT'd? There's two. Because remember, there was one time he took a bell to the throat.
Steamboat won the belt that day, but I think the bell to the throat was another match between those two. But those were two great technical wrestlers that just countered each other.
Who got more air, you think? Macho Man? Tito Santana? Didn't Ricky the Dragon Steamboat have a big top of the turnbuckle? Or was that Tito? It was just Tito, wasn't it? No, Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Ooh, Jimmy's the one that started that.
Macho Man used to get some massive air, though.
Savage hit you with the elbow.
He dropped you with that. That's just amazing how he did that.
I'll tell you who might have the best one of them all, though. Do you know the name Rob Van Dam?
Oh, yeah.
Rob Van Dam, go watch one of his matches and watch his
I forgot he was an ECW. He was an extreme wrestler, right?
ECW had some craziest moves. They had a tag team, I think called the Eliminators, or maybe the finishing move.
I forgot about Van Dam. Yeah.
Yeah, ECW had some sick, and Van Dam came over to WWE, and his finishing move was off the top turnbuckle. And Eddie Guerrero had a good frog splash.
Yep, he did. Yep.
I gotta go visit Eddie Guerrero. He's actually buried in Scottsdale, 20 minutes
Is
from
he?
me. Yeah, I saw some footage. I'm a big Eddie Guerrero fan because he went through a lot. He passed away at age 39. He was kind of heavy into
Drugs, yeah.
painkillers,
Steroids, right?
other drugs, and roids. And he finally got his life together the last few years, but he had done enough damage to his body. They found him in a hotel the night before he was
That's
supposed to
right.
wrestle. He was 39 years old, and I just love this character. Everybody says he was a really good guy, but yeah, he's buried here in Scottsdale, so I want to go visit him, pay my respects.
You know what I love? Yep. You know what I loved about Macho Man? You know what I noticed about Macho Man? Every time he was on the mic, even though he had that, he was always calm and collected, though.
Cool.
He was never savage. It was all very control, even though he was, he was very just, you know what I'm saying? He'd walk and he would just had the composure. There was something about it, man. He was the whole package as far as, the skills and being able to get on him. A unique voice. I mean, he didn't have a lot of, how Rock a lot of comebackers. Same thing with Stone Cold. They had a lot of good comebacks. But yeah, Macho Man was just, I don't know what it was about him. This badass man.
The first time The Rock met Austin and The Rock started talking his shit, this was when The Rock had that, he didn't have the bald head. He kind of had that.
He had yeah.
And The Rock was like, Stone Cold Steve Austin, I challenge you for the belt. I challenge your manhood. And Austin instantly came back and said, Rock, I challenge you to get a decent haircut. The whole crowd and The Rock's expression was like that. Because the Rock is used to talking shit to people.
Yeah.
And fired back at him, so his expression was priceless. The whole crowd was
great.
Was loving it. Yeah, those two were just so much chemistry together. Hey, how many people do we have in the chat? Has it fell off a little bit?
A little bit, 112.
Hey, if you like wrestling talk, hit the like button. If you like it switched up a little bit and are enjoying this wrestling conversation, please hit the like and please.
Yeah, absolutely. Hit that like, show that you guys like the rest. We do that every so often. We'll get into some wrestling.
Yeah, when Dan's not around, we do a little wrestling.
Yeah, Dan, he gets the glassy-eyed look.
Yeah, he doesn't know what the hell we're talking about. Like, who, Macho Man? Who's that? But it's all good. It's good. Wrestling is fun.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Just the heyday was just fantastic. I'm trying to think. As far as tag teams, when I was a kid, I loved the British Bulldogs. I don't know what it was about them, but they were just awesome. Oh, someone said, was it you that told me that Hacksaw Jim Duggan has a YouTube channel or a podcast or something? Someone told me that Hacksaw Jim Duggan and someone else has a damn podcast.
I don't know if I'm going to be running to go listen to Jim Hacksaw Duggan.
I don't think he talks actually normal, supposedly, but I guess they get into all the stories and everything.
Yeah. The Road Warriors were a great tag team. The Midnight Express, the Rock and Roll Express, Harlem Heat. The Steiner Brothers.
Or someone talked about it earlier in our chat. I can't remember who. Big John Studd and King Kong Bundy. They didn't have a tag team name, but they were a tag team.
So there was a documentary about Andre the Giant, and they talked about how he really, truly, no fake, hated Big John Studd because John Studd would call himself like, I'm the giant of this, and Andre was like the man. And the thing that pissed off Andre the Giant was Andre did one thing that no wrestler did was wrestlers usually go through the ropes. Andre went, since he was so big, over the top.
Big John Studd used to do that.
And John Studd did that while he was wrestling Andre. And Andre's told Vince McMahon, no other wrestler will do that but me. That's my thing. And John Studd, disobeyed and did it anyway.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Andre beat the shit out of him. Like, Andre's hand was like, when he hit you across that neck, John Studd,
he would do that. It wasn't a backhand. It was a
It was with his front
Yeah.
hand. And you know, you would see him hold back when he was doing other wrestlers. When he faced John Studd, he was throwing all 520 pounds into that.
Oh.
Man, his neck and chest were so red, he beat that boy senseless. You did not piss off Andre the Giant. That's a big dude.
And then of course Nikolai Volkov and Iron Sheik. The Natural Disasters, that was a little bit weird.
Eddie Guerrero did win the belt at the Cow Palace. That's a good call, Eddie K. He won it from Brock Lesnar. He won it on No Way Out 2003 versus Brock Lesnar, I believe.
The heavyweight?
Yeah.
Wow, I never knew he got a heavyweight.
Oh, it was an emotional match. His family was there, and they finally let him win the belt. Yeah, it was a good match. He beat Lesnar at the Cow Palace.
Wow.
Yeah, Google, YouTube it. Eddie Guerrero versus Brock Lesnar in San Francisco.
Wow.
Yeah, and Chris Benoit was such a sad story. God, that guy snapped. It's too bad. He was a great wrestler. But hey, another good tag team, the Freebirds. Great entrance music.
The Freebirds.
Man, they had some great entrance music. I love good music on wrestlers.
Yep. Y2K, remember? Or Y2J with Chris Jericho. He was capitalizing on the Y2K stuff. Yeah. And then the countdown.
Yeah. Break the walls down is what it's called. Edge has good music too.
Oh, do you know what's funny?
Edge has a nasty spear.
I gotta think about this. I think this was in 2000. Gosh dang it. When was this? Was it after 2005? I can't remember. Anyways, we took a big trip down to Disneyland. We do that all the time. We go down to Disneyland. But it was me, my wife, my daughter, her mom, my daughter's niece and nephews, a whole bunch of us. We went to Hard Rock Cafe in over there in Hollywood, Universal Studios. And we're sitting there eating dinner, and guess who was behind me having dinner? Freaking Edge.
Oh, he's a big dude, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a big dude. He got up and was like, "Hey, man, appreciate your work." He's like, "Thanks."
I don't know. Awesome. I just got a text from Bora. He wants to come on and talk some ball. If you want to send him the link, or if it's a little late, then if it's a little late, we'll do it another night.
Yeah, we'll just do it another night.
Yeah,
I don't have his email or anything.
Sorry, Bora. I just was catching that text. Sorry, buddy.
No worries. Yeah, we'll catch you on the next one, man. But that was cool. Did you like Triple H? I didn't care for Triple H.
He grew on me. I didn't like him at first, but the more and more I watched him, I respected his wrestling skills for a big dude. I mean, his finishing move was kind of the pedigree.
Oh, the pedigree was pretty good.
I mean, he'd get the guy in between his
jump
legs,
up and
throw his lungs, and then jump up and drop him. That was kind of a sick move.
His mic skills, though.
His voice was just kind of annoying. Oh, The Rock did one of the best shit talking mimics or making fun of Triple H. And Triple H was there, and he's like, "I'm gonna now talk like Triple H, and I tell you so, and I'm about to go to this ring. And I'm gonna stand in the middle of this ring, and I'm gonna grab this microphone, and I'm gonna say absolutely nothing."
That's great. Oh my God.
Oh, The Rock and Triple H had a great rivalry.
I know.
But hey, Triple H one time, I think what sold me on Triple H was, again, The Rock talks shit to most people, and they don't know. Like, he talks shit about Kane, The Undertaker. None of these guys had verbal skills to talk back. Austin did. And then Triple H one time came to the ring, and he was dressed like The Rock. And he had this fake eyebrow all the way up here. And he painted himself black. He wore an afro. And he put this eyebrow up. That's when I got respect for Triple H. I'm like, okay.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, Will B, I agree. He had Motorhead was his intro music for Triple H. Time to play the game. That was pretty good.
Who had great music was DX.
DX, yeah. Oh, by the way, it was Will B. He just sent the message to our chat on the phone. It's Ted DiBiase and Hacksaw Jim Duggan has a podcast. That's what it is. Thanks, Will.
Okay.
I knew someone told me. I couldn't remember who told me. It was Will B. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's it, Jim. The DX came out and they mocked the corporation, and that's when Triple H dressed up as The Rock. Oh, and he tried to mimic how he was talking, but it wasn't as good as The Rock imitating his voice.
Oh man, how about Booker T? Did you like Booker T?
I did. Booker T, very underrated wrestler. He could wrestle.
He could. Again, his mic skills not so good, but his wrestling was good. The spinneroonie.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Can you dig it, sucker? Yeah. Can you dig it?
Him and Stone Cold had a legendary fight in a grocery store.
I love it. I bring that up every time, man. That match was hilarious.
And I think that store was like in the middle of some
Fresno.
It was. I was gonna say it was in Bakersfield or Fresno.
Yeah, Yeah, I think it was Fresno. I could be wrong, but he drug him across the damn checkout aisle. He gets on a microphone. Oh, it was Bakersfield. My bad. He gets on the PA. Price check on Jackass. And I mean, it was just classic, man. They tore up that whole freaking store.
Oh, Johnny T mentions Ravishing Rick Rude. That's a great one.
Ravishing Rick Rude.
Yeah, he had his gimmick coming to the ring and taking off his robe.
The robe.
Telling people to shut up. I saw him in San Francisco at the Cow Palace, and he improvised. So his routine was to come in, take off his robe, and he would say, "Hey, cut the music. I want everybody that's fat, out of shape, to keep the noise down while I take my robe off and show the ladies what a real man looks like." And then he would take off his robe, do his dance. But after he did that, he would grab one girl out of the audience and then come up and he would kiss her, like deep, not no peck. And he looked around and he goes, and I think his manager was Bobby Heenan. He said,
Bobby Heenan.
He's like, "Bobby, I'm not going to do this tonight." And he's like, "Why?" He's like, "I know why they call this place the Cow Palace."
Oh, damn. See, but that's what a heel does.
That's what a heel does.
That's what a heel does.
I'll tell you another great heel moment. Do you remember the Road Dogg, Jesse James, and they were part of DX. Jesse James and Billy Gunn. They were a tag team, and I kid you not. You want to talk about pissing off a crowd? The day after, this was Monday Night Raw, and it was the day after I went to the event. I had tickets, but it was the day after the Packers beat the 49ers in the NFC Championship game at Candlestick. The very next night, I go to Monday Night Raw. These cocksuckers come out in Green Bay Packer uniform, talking shit to Niner fans that are pissed. Now that's how you get a crowd upset at you. Yeah, they came out in Packer uniforms, and Road Dogg was the shit talker. He went up there and just started laying into this loser ass city that we have to go to. Yeah, you lost the NFC Championship. Boom!
Oh man,
that's how you work a crowd.
That's how you exactly. What about the honky tonk man? Did you like the honky tonk man?
I didn't
like that.
I didn't care for him too much. I loved it when Ultimate Warrior beat him in like 15 seconds for the belt.
And Brutus the Barber Beefcake, that was weird.
No,
Jake the Snake. What about Jake the Snake?
I like Jake. Jake's a good wrestler. He has one of the nastiest clotheslines ever.
The short arm.
Short arm clothesline.
He'd
pull you towards him and then snap you.
Yep.
And if there were people that didn't have a lot of weight to them, it looked pretty bad.
How about when he had the snake bite freaking
Savage.
Macho Man? Oh man, it was supposed to let go and it wasn't letting go.
Hey, that was some live TV crazy
that
stuff.
Was legit.
That snake really bit him.
The snake really bit his ass.
Savage is up against the rope going, like he's really selling it.
But it wasn't supposed to last that long.
No,
He was
not
supposed to
at
let it
all.
go right away, and it stuck there.
Yeah.
Bam Bam Bigelow. He was athletic for a big guy. I'll give him that.
Yeah, he was. As was Vader. Vader was a big dude,
Vader was a big dude.
and he could wrestle. I love
Yep.
I love big dudes that could wrestle like that and move around. That's why I respected Dusty Rhodes so much. Dusty Rhodes was never in good shape,
Never, but he was athletic.
but he could wrestle for 45 to 60 minutes with Flair. God, Flair is like almost 77 years old, and he's still like doing appearances. There's nobody that drinks more than Ric Flair, I'll tell you what. There was a documentary about him saying that he would fly to Japan to wrestle the Japanese wrestler. He'd be on the plane for 10 hours. He'd probably go through about 2/5 of a bottle of whiskey. He'd get off the plane after drinking all this whiskey by himself, change into his wrestling gear, and wrestle for an hour. That's crazy.
I know.
That's
Big
crazy.
Boss Man was the best big man. You know, we could get into that. Who do you think was the best big man wrestler?
Undertaker,
Undertaker?
without a doubt.
What about Kane? He was pretty damn athletic.
Kane was pretty good, but Undertaker just
Gold Dust.
his longevity. I mean, I could say Andre the Giant. That's about as good a big man as. But Andre didn't have a lot of moves. You know.
Yeah, Andre was just a
How many moves
force
can
of
you have
nature.
at 510 pounds? He'd choke slam you, or he would bear hug you and get you to
Define
submit.
big man. I don't know. They're all pretty.
I'm trying to
big.
think his finishing move, was it something on your face or
Who, Kane?
Andre's?
Oh, Andre. Oh, yeah. Was it like an iron claw type of thing?
But the Undertaker, before he came to WWE,
Or was it the body splash in the turnbuckle?
Yeah,
I
that could be
can't
it.
remember.
But before the Undertaker came to WWE, he wrestled as Mark Romero in WCW. He would walk along
The ropes.
and then do a clothesline off the rope at 6'8", 315 pounds.
Yep. He
Undertaker.
still did that on the WWE or
He wrestled
WWF.
40 years. So to me,
The Big Show.
To me, he's the best big man wrestling.
The Big Show. He was
Big Show
okay.
was good, but he can't hope.
No.
Big Show's not in the Hall of Fame.
No.
Undertaker. Vader is up there as a big man. I mean, Hogan is considered a big man. Hogan's not small.
Yeah.
So
Yokozuna.
Yokozuna could wrestle for a fat dude, man.
Oh, wasn't he the one that gave the
That would have been a good match. I don't think I ever saw Yokozuna face Vader. Whew. That's a lot of weight.
That's a lot of beef. That's a lot of beef.
Have you seen some of these events where when you have two really big dudes and they both fall together, the whole ring collapses?
Hold this boosh, yeah. Yep. Wait, what happened? That happened one time. That happened on a show, and I can't remember what it was. It was two big guys. Someone got either body slammed or something, and the whole ring collapsed. I don't know if it was part of the show.
Yeah.
God, can anyone remember that? Oh, here, I'm going to have to look this up. I'm going to have to Google this.
Oh,
I remember watching it live.
Yeah. That's happened a few times. Joe Schmo ladder matches are absolutely incredible. Very dangerous for the wrestlers, but man, that's an underrated match is Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels. Is it Shawn Michaels for the belt for the United States title? Damn.
Okay, I'm about to
Or
look
was
at
it
it.
Mr. Perfect? Razor Ramon had wrestled somebody for the belt for the U.S. title, and it was one hell of a match, and it was a ladder match. I want to say it was Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, I'm watching it. This is it.
Jim Everett, the great, help me out with that. Razor Ramon versus somebody in a ladder match. It was one of the best matches of all time. Was that Shawn Michaels? Was it Mr. Perfect? Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig was a hell of a wrestler too. There's so many. Intercontinental title. Yeah, not the U.S. title. Thank you, Jim. WrestleMania 10. Man, Jim knows his wrestling, man. Intercontinental title.
Is this it?
Eric,
Damn,
Google
man.
that. Eric, Google that one, or YouTube that one.
Which one?
WrestleMania 10, Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels in a ladder match. You want to see? You're going to watch that.
That's the one.
You're going to watch that and come back to me and go, damn, Los, that was a hell of a match. Yeah, you're going to make me want to go watch some matches after this, but you got to get up early in the morning.
That's what it is. Hold on. I'm watching it. Oh, my God. That's what it was.
Which one? Where the ring?
Yeah, that's what it was. It's 2003. Brock Lesnar versus The Big Show.
Oh, two big dudes.
And they did a suplex off the top rope. And the thing just exploded. And then the commentator goes, holy shit. But of course they bleeped it out. It was great. I can't play it though, because we'll catch a
no worries.
Copyright.
The Undertaker throwing Cactus Jack, Mankind, whatever,
Jack.
Throwing him
Brother
off
Love.
the cage, throwing him off the top of a cage onto a table like 20 feet below.
Unbelievable.
That dude, Cactus Jack.
Mick Foley was
Mick Foley.
indestructible. Indestructible.
Oh, that's not even the worst of it. If you see some of Mick Foley's matches in Japan, that guy would fall on nails. Nails all around the ring, and he'd get all bloodied up. I mean, he did anything to sell a match. Yeah, but no, watch that WrestleMania 10.
Oh, yeah.
Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels. Write it down. I'm telling you, you're going to be like, wow, what a match. So that is one of the better matches you'll see.
WrestleMania 10, Razor Ramon
versus Shawn Michaels, Intercontinental title, ladder match.
Oh, it was a ladder?
Yeah.
It was a pretty good one, huh?
Oh, it was a great one. It's one of the better
matches. That doesn't ring it doesn't ring a bell.
There's a lot of under the radar matches that are just great matches. If you want to go back to WCW, watch the Road Warriors versus the Steiner Brothers.
Oh yeah, that.
Talk about entrance music. I Am Iron Man by Black Sabbath. And they used to.
Yep, nobody could take a chair shot like Mick. Nope, not at all. Okay, real quick, just an update. Dan did not come into the show, but he did tweet. I see a tweet 18 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
So he's still around. Dan, you're out there. We see you.
He didn't go to sleep.
Nope. Ric Flair versus Macho Man, WrestleMania 8.
That was a pretty good match.
Oh, how about the screw job? Was that legit or was that all show?
That was legit.
That was legit, huh?
Vince McMahon and Bret Hart hated each other. He was not supposed to lose the belt that night. Yeah, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart did not like each other, but they finally made up after all these years.
Well, that's cool.
So, yeah, I think I'm gonna call it a night, my friend.
All right, man. Here, I think I'm gonna get ready to shut it down too. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging in there. Do you want to hang out until it closes it out, or you want to just head out?
Yeah.
Tomorrow we'll be back on 8:30. Talk more Giants. We'll see if is Farhan done. Guess we'll find out. And just know if anything big breaks, we'll be on here right away to talk about whatever big news may happen in Giants land. We'll see what happens. I don't know. The way the rotation is kind of like what we said in the beginning. The rotation is lacking. You can't go in with no number 5. Who's going to be the number 5? Who knows? But if the Giants want to compete, they got to be able to have a damn strong rotation. That's the only thing that's going to get them through this.
Pitching's everything. Can't ignore it.
You can't. Not at all. All right, Los. Again, thanks for hanging with me. We talked a little wrestling. And,
yes, sir.
We'll get back at it tomorrow, 8:30. Until then, we'll see you tomorrow. Woo!